2, 1, now.
We are here. Okay. I know they're not believing it, Nick.
Damn.
Darkest Wales.
Mark
Anderson.
Wales is pretty dark.
Yeah, I guess everything is dark over there right now.
It is very dark and cold.
Hey, Tim, got that. We're going to lead off with that news item. The OCC, the Acme's sister airline. Mm-hmm. You got it. Okay, let me see. Steph's not. You're not going to believe this, people. You're not going to believe this. Yes. But Steph is not going to be here with us as we start the show. But she will be joining us. She's in a lot of traffic. She's probably listening to us right now. Hi, Steph.
I think she just drives around the block. I think she just drives around the block round her house until we get going, and then she parks up and gets out of the car.
Might be.
I think she's got a phobia.
Sorry, Neil. What? Neil again? Neil Landwarm again?
Oh, dear.
Shoot.
Very dark, yes. It was a nice moon last night, wasn't there, Mark?
Yeah, there was a nice moon on the last show, too. One of those overlays.
Yes, so there was. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Already? He was. Nick was making an ass out of himself, Liz.
A big ass.
And that's how they came up with the whole big ass fan company thing.
Yeah, apparently. I think I should deserve some royalties for that.
Yeah, I think royal something.
Yeah. Royal Air Force.
Hello. Oh, it's kind of loud over here. Is my mic volume considerably louder than Nicholas's? Denise. Hey, Denise. Oh, thank you so much for the big hug. I appreciate that. Denise is Mike's better half. If there could possibly be a better half than Mike, right?
There's got to be a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there is. Philip is doing great. Almost back to 100%. That's great. So how's the
good news, Tanya?
How are the levels here? Am I too loud? Am I distorting? Because I don't know what I sound like on Facebook. Okay, good.
Is he louder than me? Hello, Peter Piper, Pickle Pepper. Oh, pardon me.
Okay, well then let me adjust it. Audio, and I'll move this slider back down because I'm using the XR18, Nick, because that's what we're going to be using. So both venues will be supported by the Behringer XR series digital audio stage boxes.
Well, we're using my XR12, so really good actually to have fired it over because, of course, it's very flexible. Jeff, you are louder than Nick.
Okay.
Hi, Brent.
As it should be. Am I still louder than Nick?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. You sound better to me.
Let me go over here to the audio and pretend that I'm doing something and that will make Micah happy. Okay, I pretended to lower the slider. I'm just kidding, Micah. I actually did move it down a little bit. Is it better? Is it better?
Thanks for the memories.
Thanks for your memories. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that's very recent, Jason. But
yeah,
very
I saw it.
amusing.
Where did we see that?
I saw it on
the
Twitter,
BFFs. Yeah,
or BFFs, something like that.
Yeah,
yes,
that is just beyond. I don't know what to say about that. Just beyond comprehension. Thank you, Liz. She is my brain that only I can hear. It is scary, yes. for everybody. Okay. Let me do a sound check on. Yeah, I just need to do a sound check on the sound clips, and I'm sure that I know it's going to happen. It's going to be too loud. So here, let me go.
You're listening to.
Oh, it's too loud for me too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, let me go over here and take this fader down a little bit.
I take this slider.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
Still too loud?
No, sounds all right.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
Come on, man.
Oh, look, a penetrator.
Oh. Ooh. Wow. Very, very stimulating.
That is, right? Yes.
Show title.
Yes.
The Penetrator.
Ah, the Mark V penetrator.
Liz is objecting to. She's nixing it. She's nipping it in the bud, so to speak.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let me move the Evernote. Oh, I don't even have it on. Okay. Current show. Move that up here. And, oh, Liz, you're breathing in my ear. It's so sexy. Oh, good. I'm glad you just brushed your teeth. I really can't tell, but I'm sure it's just a beautifully fresh breath.
Who's in tonight?
Who's in?
We've got a good crowd in tonight, haven't we?
Well, we're here to help kick off everybody's U.S. celebration of Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's good.
And, yeah. And the traffic out there is horrendous. Yeah, it was horrible. And it always is on the Wednesday right before Thanksgiving. It wasn't bad for me going down. I went into Roswell to sing at a funeral, and then I quickly stopped by the house and check on a few things and have somewhat of some conversation with my former spouse, and then back on the road and back up here. So I'm so happy to be here with my family.
I'm trying to guess what song you sing. It was probably Congratulations and Celebrations. No?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, okay. That was it. Good.
Yeah.
Fine funeral.
It was like, oh, my favorite. What are you doing here? You're in the wrong place. Nah. What were we going to say,
Let
Liz?
me out!
What? You say something inappropriate, Liz? No. What?
Oh, dear.
Anyway, I didn't know the man, and didn't know any of the family, and I didn't pay attention to any of the stuff when they were talking about the man, and so I didn't get emotional at all, although I'm in a very vulnerable state right now. Not guaranteeing I'm not going to get emotional on Friday. Not this Friday, but a week from Friday. But I hope I won't. Oh, I will not. Okay. Let me do this and this.
I'm just going to nip the loo. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Really? You think that if I started it right now, that he would be back in time? Maybe. Well, I'll give him a couple extra seconds here. Lou who? Lou? Skip to my loo, my skip to the loo, my darling. That song has nothing to do with a loo like a toilet, does it? Skip to the loo, my. Sorry. I know. Now it's going to be skipping like with my hand over my crotch. Name tag? Yeah, you. That's your job. You have to print out all those name tags. I'm just kidding. Oh, okay. Well, then have fun. Do you think we should do that? I mean, I think it would be actually helpful because I've already screwed up. Some people have sent us some nice donations, and I'm thinking, like names that I should recognize that I'm not, like Ben Singer. He sent a nice. Oh, Mr. Brent is in the chat room. After that Delta in-flight meal, I'm not skipping to the loo. I'm running. I'm glad you enjoyed that.
I'm back. All set to go.
JJ, did we ever figure out what JJ stands for? Ed? Oh, okay. So he'll tell us in Atlanta. Okay.
Are we waiting for Steph?
No.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay. You sure? All right. Here we go.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG, it's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy episode 499.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot.
How's that sound check?
The airline pilot.
Yeah, I just realized I hadn't started my recording.
Do you want me to start mine?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Steph, start yours when you get home. Along with like restarting your computer and reinstalling software. The normal thing. Okay. Here we go. Take 2. If I can find it. Here we go.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG, it's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy episode 499.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy show. The view from our side of the cockpit door. With your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from Studio 1A at APG headquarters in Lake Burton, Georgia. Today's show is recorded on the 24th of November, 2021.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Picture light and he's flying by. With the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, an Air Force student pilot dies in a training accident in Texas. Authorities blame staff cuts for a cargo plane slipping off a snowy taxiway in Finland. More news, your feedback, and today's Plane Tale 500. So get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and lock positions. Electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 499 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. He is an award-winning TV and radio reporter currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation, 1010 Wins and
New York City.
All right, welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, a pilot at a major legacy airline based in Atlanta, Georgia. And joining me today from across the pond in
Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
his lakeside. No, it's not lakeside, unless it's been raining there a lot. I don't know. It's probably not a lakeside. Anyway, his studio, professional photographer, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Hi there, Jeff. Yeah, occasionally we have had a moat around our castle, but not right now, thank you.
That's good. All right.
It is.
You want to talk aviation news, maybe?
That's what I'm here for.
All right, let's do it.
Stand by for news.
All right, thank you, Paul. Accident TMA DHC6 de Havilland, what is that, a Twin Otter at Fanohu on November 13th, 2021. Right wing damage during water take. Oh, not another one. Okay.
No.
A TMA Devian. Help me. Devian. Airways de Havilland DHC 6300 Twin Otter. There you go. It's right there. Written right down. Right in front of me. Registration 8 Quebec Mike Bravo Charlie. Performing a flight from Fanohu to Male in the Maldives. Was in its water takeoff run when the crew rejected takeoff due to a collision. The aircraft was recovered to the mooring. Yes?
Oops.
Am I gone?
I'm just going, oops.
Oh, I see.
collision.
Yeah. There are no reports of injuries. The aircraft was seen at the mooring at Fanohu in the evening of November 16th, 2021, having suffered a dent and penetration to the leading edge of the right-hand wing, as well as the right-hand propeller being removed and the right-hand engine supported by a crane. Works going on the wing and the prop/engine. According to ground observers, the aircraft collided with a water bungalow during its takeoff run and received damage to its right-hand wing. I had to look this up on Google to see what I was thinking maybe that was some kind of a floating in like a raft or something. No, it's like those things that are actually structures in the water.
They're on stilts, yeah?
How do you not see that?
I don't know. I was wondering, was it an evening takeoff or something? Or, sunset, looking into the sun? Or I was trying to think of a good reason why you would drive your Twin Otter into a bungalow. I couldn't think of one.
I don't know. It may have been dark because some of these overlays that you have been seeing on the video show some lights, it looks mood lighting, like purple, pink lighting. I don't know why. Yeah. So perhaps it was dark. Yeah.
Yeah. Perhaps it was. But then again, if you're taking off, now I understand you've got to bear in mind the wind direction, but you're normally going to point it out to sea, aren't you? Not parallel to the coast or inland.
Like this picture here?
Yeah. So there's one getting airborne. He's picked a nice spot. So I'm really not sure how he managed to slew it round, and unless it was the building at the end of that very dock, the one that's sticking a fair bit out. But no, I'm not sure at all. It's a shame because that would be, I think, for a lot of pilots, that would be the world's most wonderful job. Flying a light twin around the islands of the Maldives, just gorgeous. So, I hope he hasn't upset his employer too much.
Yeah, me too. That just seems a little embarrassing.
Good question, Neil. He asked, do they always take off directly into the wind? No, they definitely do not. A lot of busy water areas where water aircraft, float aircraft work from, they have defined runways. We mentioned an accident a while back where they had 3 defined runways.
Also in the Maldives.
Yeah, but not necessarily, in every location. So I guess it depends how busy they are and whether it's sort of semi-controlled or whether you're just freelancing it.
Yeah. Hey, Liz, I know we said that we were going to do that video at the beginning, but why don't we just do that at the end of the news segment? The OCC thing. Okay. Yeah, because I completely forgot until now. Anyway. Okay. Well, hopefully we'll... No, I don't mean not that video. No, that's not the video I'm talking about.
Well, is that why Rick's not here?
That's why Rick... Ironing. He's still practicing for the Extreme Ironing Championships, which are
unbelievable.
World Championships. Yeah, I think he's the winner for the U.S., so he's going to be representing the U.S. in the Extreme Ironing competition.
Are they doing it on a bobsleigh this year or what?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I think that'd be pretty good.
Water skiing, Liz says.
Water skiing, yeah, that would be. Yeah, keep the shirt damp while you're ironing it. That'd be good.
I think it's battery powered. Not they don't have it's cordless. Liz. Okay.
All right.
I've
I've got a joke about that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do we later on? Okay. Let's keep moving on. 1B accident. Ethiopian A359, so 350-900 registration Echo Tango Alpha Yankee Bravo, performing flight 809 from Addis Ababa.
Addis Ababa.
That's it. That too. Depends on your accent, I guess. In Ethiopia to Johannesburg, South Africa. Touchdown hard on Johannesburg's runway 3 right at 12:57 local time. Rejected landing and climbed out about 10 degrees right of runway heading. The aircraft climbed to 8,000 feet, subsequently positioned for an approach to runway 3 left, and landed without further incident about 20 minutes later. The aircraft is still on the ground in Johannesburg 12 days later. A local source told the Aviation Herald the aircraft suffered a hard landing and a runway excursion and went around. According to ADS-B data transmitted by the aircraft was descending at more than 500 feet per minute at the time of touchdown. That's not good. Touchdown about 120 meters or 400 feet past the runway threshold, past the runway numbers, but before the first touchdown zone marker. Changed 12 degrees to the right, climbed through 400 feet AGL, about 460 meters or 1,500 feet to the right of the runway center line. Oh, that's not good. Overflying the hangars east of the runway. That's really not good. On November 10th, 2021, South Africa's CAA reported they were notified of an incident involving an Ethiopian A350-900 on November 6th and dispatched investigators on site to determine scope and size of the investigation. A preliminary report will be published within 30 days. Let's see. On November 18th, 2021, the Aviation Herald received photos of the damage and current repairs. I think that Liz has been showing those, verifying that the aircraft also received damage to its right wingtip as a result of a wingtip strike. Later, on November 18th, South Africa's CAA added that the aircraft encountered a strong crosswind while landing on runway 3 right. It really wasn't that strong. The right wing tip made contact with the runway surface. The occurrence was rated an accident and is being investigated. And then this has made Simon very unhappy. Ethiopian Airlines so far has not responded to an inquiry by the Aviation Herald, said on November 9th. So let's look at the METARs around the time of the incident. 320 at 16 knots, so about, 70 degrees off? Almost a complete crosswind. But it's like 280 degrees to 340 degrees, so it was varying a little bit. And but 16 knots, I mean, that's not really that bad.
No, it's not excessive at all.
No. So, yeah, we're seeing the damage to the right wing. This is a very new airplane, I'm sure. It's a Dreamliner, so they haven't. I mean, no, a 350. Sorry, Airbus. Yeah, I know. But there's some big scrapes on the right wing tip, and and is that I guess after the repair, because that last photo really shows. I don't even know what to say. It's not even a wingtip.
I don't know if that's during the repair, Jeff, because it looks like they've taped on some plastic to protect the open portion. I think they've taken the part of the wingtip off, or they've taken the winglet off and the trailing edge of the wing area up to the aileron. Looks like they've taken that bit off as well. But,
that makes me happier then.
Yes, it does be. There's a lot of black marks on the winglet, near the wingtip, which I suspect are the scorch marks or residue from whatever it was scraping on.
Mm-hmm.
We have to remember. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Joburg's 5,000 feet up, so it's not the simplest of airfields to come into. You just have to remember that your ground speed's going to be higher, and the aircraft will have more inertia because the air pressure is a little less. So it's not going to be quite as responsive. You're going to be going a little faster than you might have done, in your experience. And it takes a little longer to arrest the rate of descent. So I don't know if this was a crew that experienced with high altitude airfields or not. That might be one reason for it, but why they got that into that quite severe wing down, I don't know. That wind wouldn't really suggest that, but of course that's only a record of, or a prediction. It's not the actual conditions that they encountered at the time.
Well, how about this? It's a left to right crosswind. They're crabbing in, and then they kick it out at the in the flare to align the fuselage with the runway, and then they didn't anticipate the natural tendency for the airplane to roll away from left to right from the wind, and didn't apply any aileron correction to prevent that from happening.
It is possible, although
Maybe?
that's such a well known technique. It doesn't, I wouldn't understand why they wouldn't be able to straighten the airplane adequately. And if you're doing it at the right part of the flare, it's quite hard to get that much bank on, because you're at the point at which the wheels are touching the ground. So it's usually a wheel will touch down and save you. Interesting. But I guess they're not that interested in telling the world about it, the airline involved.
And I was thinking, well, perhaps, they caught a gust or something like that. But again, the METAR didn't have any information or
no indication
observation of a gusting.
The wind was varying a bit, but that's about it.
Liz was telling me, you mentioned about maybe they weren't used to high altitude landing operations, but she said Addis Ababa, or however you were supposed to say that, is 7,000 something.
Oh, well done,
feet,
Liz. Well spotted.
7,600. Yeah.
In that case,
so I guess
this is quite
they should
low.
be. Right. Yeah. They're not used to such a low altitude runway.
No, they're not. No. I don't understand that. Well spotted, Liz. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, yeah, she said that was just off the top of her head. She didn't even look it up. She didn't need to, because she's just a veritable encyclopedia of aviation knowledge.
Absolutely.
Anyway, thanks, Liz. So
well done, staff.
Wow. What was
Who's
that?
coming? Have we got Rick? Is Rick here?
I didn't do that. Who did that? Did you do that, Nick?
No.
Really? Seriously? Who did that?
I have no way of doing that. It's not me.
I did not do it. I swear to you, I did not.
It's the ghost in the machine.
You know what I think it is? I actually did do that, but I didn't mean to. That was from a previous show, and we were talking about tequila bottles, talking about some of the Dreamliner defects and that.
Yes.
But in a more recent show, and there, in one of my tracks in post editing, I put that little tequila thing in there, and
tequila.
I didn't see that. I didn't have my track display so I could see all the tracks, and there it is. There it is. Okay, that was my bad. Sorry. Okay, let me mute all these other tracks just in case there are any more surprises. Okay. Another incident, yes. Are you talking about podcasting incident or aviation incident, Liz? Oh, okay. Let's do 1C then. Aviationsafety.net. A350 slid off a taxiway due to poor ice control on taxiways. A Finnair Airbus A350, another A350, departing on a cargo flight to Tokyo, slid partially off a slippery
cargo
run.
cowboys.
Yeah. Those Finnish pilots are almost as bad as those American cowboy pilots.
Okay, exactly, yeah.
They
They're
slid partially.
quick to finish.
Ding! Cha-chum, bam! Rim shot. All right.
Yeah, that's what the girls tell me.
They slid partially off a slippery taxiway at Helsinki Vanta? I don't know how you pronounce that. Airport on February 21st, 2021. Substandard ice control on taxiways due to pandemic-related staff cuts was a factor, according to the newly released investigation report. Yes, we We can blame it on COVID, right? Due to COVID-19 pandemic and decline in traffic, the airport winter maintenance staff was cut by around 50% in late 2020, which affected ice control and led to non-compliances. Even during periods of major changes, such as those caused by the pandemic, an airport operator must ensure the safety of aircraft operations in the movement area or close portions of the movement area if necessary, Operational safety under difficult weather conditions must not be delegated exclusively to aircraft crews, the Safety Investigation Authority.
I'm not quite sure how the aircraft crews are supposed to go out there and clear all the ice off. I mean, really?
Right. I guess they're thinking like, mitigation techniques that we might use on slippery runway surfaces. But, if there is no friction at all, there's not really a heck of a lot you can do.
Oh, no, exactly. I watched one great friend of mine drift his A340-600 at Heathrow off the taxiway onto the grass because it froze. Sunset, temperature dropped, no de-icing out there. It just rained, and the ground just froze. And he was doing 4 knots, and he did a gentle pirouette, turned about 90 degrees right, and drifted right off the taxiway. He just couldn't stop it. So,
well, if he had been a cowboy pilot, he would understand how to work those thrust reverse levers and forward reverse levers and just do that tractor thing and keep it from going off.
I didn't
ride him
think he had
cowboy,
that long,
was the saying.
That long to react. But
Ride him
yeah,
cowboy.
I mean, absolutely. Steph,
Yeehaw!
Lord, you're here. We need some HR input.
Oh my
please.
God! Already? I've been working all day today. I'm done. I've worked in my fill,
huh?
my quota. Yep.
Okay. Well, we got
Okay.
free reign tonight, then, cowboy.
Yeah, do whatever you want. It's fine.
Start your drinking. Start your drinking.
That first sips.
Yeah, that Founders all day IPA ain't gonna do it. You got to get something with more alcohol in it.
I'm gonna need something. Yeah.
All
No,
right.
that's all I got in my
Well.
fridge right now, so it'll have to do.
All right. Well, Steph, welcome. I'm not going to play your bumper.
Yeah, don't. It's
And
fine.
then everybody knows you. You're a doctor. You
It's
do
me.
spinal injections. That's why we call her a backstabbing jumper dumper.
Not
Yeah.
that she stabs the backs of parachutists. That's not the
No,
reason.
but I'm sure that she thinks about it at times. Yeah.
No comment on that.
No comment. All right.
No comment.
The innocent will remain.
Yes. Okay. Well,
There's something wrong?
no, my whole computer was, of course, not on when I got here. Like the power was off
What?
completely to it, and so everything is reloading, including Evernote at the
crazy.
moment.
Huh.
That's right. We'll finish this one.
Yeah, go ahead. I have no idea what any of the things are because it's getting there though. I'll
Okay.
just pretend like I know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Mark Anderson's wondering if I'm practicing for a job with Okie Air. Yahoo! Okie Air. Oh, wow, that's a good one, Liz. You'll have to listen to the audio only to hear Liz's Yahoo. That's a good one. Very convincing. Do you live in the Canadian Rockies?
With all this yahooing, you should open
Yeehaw.
a internet search engine, I think.
Yahoo.
What's that?
Yahoo.
Okay. Yahoo!
Yeah, that one.
All right.
Anyway,
let's see.
enough of this.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna move it on. Oh, wait a minute. Nick is the one that's being serious all of a sudden. Okay. Yeah.
We're back to
Okay.
that glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah. All right. D. News.
Have
two.
we actually finished this the
Well,
Finland
I don't know. You
one?
want to talk more about the sliding 350? I mean, what else is there to say? They slid off the runway. I mean, the taxiway.
It slid off the taxiway.
The tarmac.
It's just that of interest to the flight crews, people didn't realise the seriousness of the incident because the bloke had knocked over a big sign with his number one engine and dented the intake. So the flight crew didn't secure the voice recorder, which was an interesting point because, of course, when it comes to investigating the incident afterwards, that's a requirement, is to be able to secure the voice recorder and download it for implementing subsequent safety actions. So if you are on board an airplane with a voice recorder and something like this happens, don't let it get wiped. Make sure it's downloaded.
I completely missed the fact that he hit something and
he
dented,
knocked over that. He knocked over that sign. Big
yeah,
runway sign exposed to.
The one that's
the
usually
that you
upright
can't
and
read.
tells you which taxiway you're.
Okay, I didn't even realize that was a sign.
The two big tracks are his main wheels, and then that sign was bonked over by his engine.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. And if I'd read the caption there, the aircraft's number one engine knocked over a taxiway sign, causing superficial damage to the engine. Oh well, thanks for catching that.
No trouble.
Yeah, let me drink some more beer. I'm sure.
Have
it'll just
another
get
Yahoo.
better. Oh, okay. Let's continue. Are we finished now with that one?
Yep.
Okay. 2 T-38 Talons involved in a deadly incident on Laughlin Air Force Base's runway. One pilot has died, another is in critical condition, and another suffered no major injuries as a result of the mishap. Let's see. Laughlin is one of the Air Force's training bases. Located in Texas. I believe it's Del Rio. This morning at around, well, I don't know, that was a few days ago, at around 10 a.m. local time. And at first there was really no, or not a lot of information about the incident. And but they did know that there was at least one fatality and some injuries. And it talks about in this is from, by the way, thedrive.com. And obviously, the T-38 is an airplane that has been involved in many mishaps in the past. In fact, I think the last one we talked about was a takeoff formation takeoff incident at Vance Air Force Base in Oklahoma. And I don't know if this one was involving a takeoff or a landing or what, but it seems to me that it was a formation flight, I'm guessing, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe these were just two aircraft. Maybe one airplane with the student in it didn't know there was another airplane on the runway. I don't know. We obviously we don't know many details here, but we have several pictures of the incident, including one T-38 completely upside down. I have a feeling that might be the one with the fatality. Another T-38 Talon is upright and kind of resting against a sign. In this case, it was the Bravo taxiway sign. And it's sad. Hopefully we'll... Didn't knock it over, though, so no need to, stop the voice recorder. No, there is no voice recorder in the T-38. I don't think so.
And they're facing in completely opposite directions, or both are aligned with the runway. So, one's been going in one direction or done a U-turn, just skidded around.
Yeah.
So,
hard to tell.
Yeah, it is. And, you're right. It could be a formation takeoff, formation landing. It could be completely two independent aircraft who came together. No way to tell.
Nope.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, on my graduation dinner at my Air Force training base, everybody's family's there, and it's a nice formal occasion. And that day, the class that was behind us, they were performing flight ops, and a solo student in the final turn G'd up the airplane too much and went into a accelerated stall in the final turn and crashed and killed himself. And that would kind of put a damper on anything, especially when you're telling
you telling that story.
You're telling your family, oh yeah, it's pretty safe.
Yeah. What I do is perfectly fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I remember you telling that story before. That is sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, very high performance airplane, and you have to be careful with it. It doesn't have a huge wing, and there's little margin between, being at the right angle of attack
flying
in the final turn. Yeah, flying and not flying. And then when if you G it up or you demand too much too much angle of attack from that wing, it doesn't take very long for it to say, okay, I'm not flying anymore.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to recognize. It stays in a relatively the same attitude, pretty much. Not like most airplanes, when you stall them, the attitude of the airplane lets you know that the thing's stalling. This thing just stays, just almost straight and level, like it's not stalling. Except for you look at your VVI and notice it's going like 10,000 feet per minute.
Way down.
Yeah. Our instructors always said, okay, they take us up and, show us mice on the wing, which is like a little bit of a stall buffet, and elephants on the wing. Boom, 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 boom. And then look at your VVI. Oh, wow. We're dropping like a brick, aren't we? Yes, we are. Okay. Put some power in, lower the nose a little bit, and start flying again. Anyway, sorry. Off on a tangent there.
No, it's good information. I think most people would not realize that about that particular aircraft.
That's one of the that's one of the first things they do with us when we transition from the basic trainer to the more advanced trainer, is like show you, some of the things you have to watch out for in that airplane. Anyway.
It's a very thin wing, isn't it?
It is very thin and very stubby. It's like, when you're sitting up there in the front, especially in the front seat, and you look back at it, there is, you have to really look back far to see where the little stubby wings are. And one of the things that they didn't design it this way. I mean, they didn't expect to operate it this way, but initially, this is according to people, I don't know who these people are, but people that are supposed to know these things, they said that originally they were having us land, like kick out the crab for landing. And then they realized that was going to be a problem. It's going to be, it will take some pretty finesse, a lot of finesse on the controls to do that safely. And so they basically said, no, just land it in a crab. So that was better to prevent a situation where you could possibly stall one of the wings and then end up being a big fireball. Okay. Thank you, Liz. Let's continue with item E. After 76 years, Japan has aircraft carriers again. And this is sent in to us by Texas Analyst Shock, and this is also from MSN.com. And it talks about, here, I'll read it. Ironically, it's all due to help from the country that sank most of Japan's carriers in World War II. And then we have a picture here of a U.S. Marine Corps F-35B Joint Strike Fighter landing last month on the Japanese aircraft carrier Izumo, I guess. The event marked 76 years since the last time Japan operated an aircraft carrier. Japan will operate at least 2 carriers by 2030, all with American help. The photo that we're seeing now on the video is one of those is the Japanese carrier, and one is it's the Ronald Reagan, USS Ronald Reagan, U.S. aircraft carrier. Let's see. The United States Marine Corps and Japan's Maritime Self-Defense Force made history last month with an epic flight that relaunched Japan's carrier aviation program. The flight involving the Japanese aircraft carrier Izumo and American F-35B fighter jets marked the first time. Okay, we just talked about that. Let's see. The first time since 1945, Japan was one of the first pioneering naval aviation powers, but its involvement in World War II saw the destruction of nearly its entire fleet battle force, particularly the carriers. The flight took place on October 3rd in the Pacific Ocean. 2 F-35B Joint Strike Fighters operating from Marine Corps Air Station Iwakuni took off from mainland Japan, refueled in midair, and then landed on the ship, the JS Izumo. The F-35Bs landed vertically on Izumo's flight deck and then performed a rolling takeoff. The MSDF shared the video below. Oh, I don't have the video. Sorry. Let's see. Let's scroll down here. So I think they have quite a few F-35s on order, 42 to be exact, on order from the U.S., but the aircraft have not arrived, and Japan's F-35 pilots are not trained in short takeoff and vertical landing operations. The Marine Corps, however, operates 2 F-35B squadrons at Marine Corps Air Station Iwakuni on the Japanese mainland just south of Hiroshima. After some discussion, Washington and Tokyo agreed on the exercise. Both countries get something out of it. U.S. Marines proved that they can operate from foreign carriers, while Uzumo's crew was able to practice carrier operations in a way it wouldn't otherwise get to do for at least another year. Whether or not this causes China to reconsider its military approach, only time will tell. In the meantime, the 76-year spell has been broken, and Japan's aircraft carrier genie is officially out of the bottle. And that was from Kyle Mizokami at the MSN.com.
Excellent. Are we doing the F-35 that our Navy lost this week? Because they
I don't think
lost
so.
one.
Oh, I didn't see that in the.
Yeah, they've just lost one off the Queen Elizabeth II out in the Mediterranean. And the word on the street is pilot got airborne with an intake blank in
Oh, that's right.
the
We talked.
intake. Yeah, I
Yeah,
read a bit,
yeah.
perhaps on the BFF chat, but apparently it was pushed in and laying flat, so no one spotted it. But it took the engine out, and he ejected shortly after takeoff. In fact, he was so close to the carrier that his parachute got tangled up with the edge of the carrier. And you guys are going to have to help us salvage it because, of course, no one wants anyone else dragging it up from the Mediterranean. And you're the closest military unit with decent salvage gear. So they're going to have.
There's nothing
a job.
secret or anything on it, though, right?
No, not at
Nothing
all. It's
secret at all.
nothing to see here. Nothing at all. Just pull the
Yeah.
plane out of the ocean
Interesting.
and move along.
Yeah, exactly right. But another little bit of F-35 disaster.
Well, let's see. That's 2 military aviation news items.
Wow.
in the,
Surely
Al
we've
will
made
be pulling his
somebody
hair out.
happy. Yeah, great
Yeah.
noisy things.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. And then finally, no, not finally, almost finally, a pilot single-handedly saves £1 million worth of small air, and that's in money, worth of small aircraft from blaze at Bodmin Flying Club. Is that right?
Bodmin, yes, it's down sort of Cornwall way, bottom left-hand corner of the United Kingdom.
Okay.
That's what, yeah.
Well, David sent this in to us. Flying instructor has saved around £1 million worth of small planes from a hangar fire at Bodmin Airfield. He single-handedly pushed 8 aircraft to safety outside after calling the emergency services. Andy Wilkins had been staying in a caravan on site when he heard the loud bang.
Not
Despite
the airplane,
flying,
correct. Caravan is a camper.
oh no, a caravan like a
Okay.
trailer.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, like a little trailer.
No one in his
Oh my God,
right
I've stayed in a
mind
car. Wait, no, just kidding.
would save a caravan, just let it burn.
What?
That makes me wonder whether or not when
What kind of caravan are
when
we talking about now?
When Steph talks about
Flying
flying
one.
a caravan, when Steph talks about flying a caravan, I wonder if people imagine her flying a little trailer. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, at any
So I
rate,
think-
it's a fast one. So,
Yeah, what we do is Liz still there? Yeah, I think we do have some. There we go. Pictures overlays. There is the inside of the hangar there, and I believe the next one's from the outside, looking at the burning hangar. And let's see if we can find some more information about what happened here. Despite flames and smoke spreading across one of the hangars, Andy's next priority after dialing 999 was to move the planes outside to safety. The smoke had become pretty intense by the time Cornwall Fire Service had arrived, which is when they stopped Andy. Andy explained how important the aircraft is to the flying club in Cornwall, saying, "I just got them out. I'm a bit stiff this morning." And let's see, by moving the planes out of the next door hangar where the fire had started, he had created a fire break. Chairman of the Bodmin Flying Club, Darren Fern, said that Andy had managed to save millions of pounds worth of aircraft. Darren commended the fire services for doing a brilliant job. Brilliant! But stated that by Andy's actions of emptying the hangar next door, it saved all the other airplanes. The fire brigade did a brilliant job of containing it, but emptying the hangar that was next door to it gave us a fire break that saved all the others. So to do that all virtually on his own was an amazing job. That's awesome.
That is good.
sometimes you just gotta act, react, and act. Yeah.
Yeah. Tony
No,
says,
I
isn't a
wasn't
caravan a string of camels? Well, like
Yes, it's also
Yeah,
that, I
true.
suppose. Yes.
a chain smoker? Oh, not that kind of camel. Okay.
Yeah. Salem's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Camel City is Winston-Salem.
Yeah. Weren't they just called camels?
Yeah, they were, but
they were.
Winston-Salem
Oh, okay.
has an informal nickname of Camel City.
Or
R.J. Reynolds.
Okay. Gotcha.
And now half the people
What
listening
does,
to this have no idea what we're talking about. But
What does opposing bases call that airport?
tobacco? No, cigarette or tobacco? I can't remember.
Cigarette, I think. Yeah.
I always screw it up. I want to call it tobacco, but it's actually they call it cigarette. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I promise I listen. I can't get my stuff together.
Just can't get it straight.
I can't get it straight. Yeah.
By the way, I wasn't trying to be rude to Cessna Caravan drivers. I was thinking more of the short Sky van that actually looks
Oh
like
no, that's an
caravan
ugly airplane. Yeah.
with wheels. Sorry, with wings. Yeah.
Actually,
and
yeah,
wheels.
spend some time in the right seat of one of those and the Sky van. It's that's
Yeah, it's
exactly
horrible.
how I would describe it.
If I was
kinda like-
listening, it's really horrible.
Yeah, it's not great.
It kind of looks like the shorts 330 or 360.
It is. It's just a shorter version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, shorter and
It's
uglier.
It's the SC7, I think, is the.
Yes,
numerical
you're quite right.
designation? Yeah.
C7.
I should know since I did spend some time, a little bit of time flying one from the right seat. Yeah.
Very cool. Well,
Jump from one
the
too.
last
That's actually
thing
kind of fun.
the last thing we want to do in the news before we move to the getting to know segment is to mention the fact that we are recording this on Wednesday, the 24th of November. Tomorrow is the 25th of November, which is Thanksgiving Day. Liz is saying Thanksgiving Eve. Yes, we're recording on Thanksgiving Eve. Tomorrow is the U.S. Celebration of Thanksgiving. And it is in fact, today, I think, is one of the busiest travel days of the year. I think Sunday might be the actual
I'm going to blame that
busiest.
for my tardiness getting here tonight because I left work at a reasonable time and it took forever because everyone started their holiday and they're all out on the roads in droves.
They are.
And driving poorly.
I was out there
know-
too.
You know who you are. Stop driving poorly.
Just fess up. You know who you are. All right. So at the last minute here, Tim, I think earlier today, Tim Van Ram said that, or sent us some news regarding a special report done by, I think, CBS News, and has some video here of some behind the scenes at Acme's sister airline and a little peek into the Operations Control Center.
A rarely seen room, a nerve center so crucial it never closed during the pandemic. Delta Airlines' 24/7 Operational Control Center, or OCC, is staffed by up to 300 people. Tonight, monitoring more than 463,000 passengers, with 97,000 flying through Atlanta alone.
Something goes wrong on an aircraft. Who does the pilot call?
The captain
Ghostbusters.
instantly messages me.
Chris Nunez is a dispatcher who plans, then tracks dozens of flights at once. If a passenger is disruptive, he has the authority to divert the plane.
I am the safety person on the ground, so I share the responsibility with the captain to ensure that the flight is safe at all times.
And this right here is critical.
Nunez works with people like retired Marine Captain Mark Garner, who after 14 years just earned Thanksgiving off.
It's competitive just to get to Delta as a pilot.
There's also stiff competition to work in the OCC, which today is overseeing 4,000 flights. Heather Heitzman leads 26 meteorologists and says posts here are prestigious, with staffers staying until retirement. She's been here 16 years.
Out west, we do have the next system that we're watching that's starting to kick up in the Northern Rockies.
How many flights have you had to cancel this week? 0.
As a 36-year veteran of the company, Barnett Smith manages fleet schedules and says this time of year is intense.
There's a little more pressure to get everybody home for Thanksgiving. So.
Now, Delta expects to fly more than 478,000 passengers tomorrow and more than 550,000 on Sunday. That's a pandemic record for the airline. Also, United and American Airlines expect the Sunday after Thanksgiving to be their busiest travel days, Nora, since the pandemic began.
Really interesting to see how it all works. Errol Barnett, thank you.
Thank you.
I love you. Asked, how many flights have you had to cancel? Oh, zero. Well,
Zero?
it was 1 minute past midnight. So in the 60 seconds that we've been on the air, we haven't had to cancel any.
Now, well, I'm not gonna be a spokesperson for that company.
No, I was checking.
But
Very
I hear
efficient.
that they do a pretty damn good job of
gather.
keeping
I hear, and it looks very impressive in terms of the amount of coordination and technology. And
well, I've been in
things
there.
going on.
I got an invitation to go in there, and
Have you now?
and the only thing that let the
me
whole
too.
experience down was one of the captains of one of the aircraft sent a very rude ACARS message in, and I thought, if this is the standard of professionalism I can expect from this particular airline, I'm a bit disappointed. But
yeah.
We'll just gloss over
Well,
that.
I don't know who that was. Who do you think
There was
that-
there was a comment made there about how highly competitive it is to get to be a Delta pilot, and then Liz said in my ear, and I agree with her, it's even more demanding and competitive to become an Acme pilot.
Well,
Just
we're a
saying.
smaller outfit, aren't we?
absolutely.
So it's
Well, there's
just
so
more
few of
exclusive.
them.
More exclusive, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so that is it for our news on this segment, and that means it's time now for getting to know us. Feels like we just did this a couple of days ago.
I think we did.
Oh, actually, it was just a few days ago that we recorded episode 498. Hey, I'd like to say, and I was going to look this up and I neglected to do so, so I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to put in APG 400 and see if I can determine. Nope, I'm getting all kinds of search results that have nothing to do with our show. Yeah, the date of the of 400. If you can find that out for me, Liz, thank you. Because we are on 499, and so we are basically 100 episodes in to. We're about to leave the 400s and start the 500th episode in the 500s.
Woohoo.
And
It's nearly
I'm
the
thinking
end
it's
of the
gotta
millennium.
Got to be close to 2 years ago when we did 400. Okay, she's still. Our staff is still researching this. Let's see if I can get it before she does. Okay, go to APG, Airline Pilot Guy.
I've already been on that
and then do
page
a
today, and
search.
I'm not going back there to look for more things.
Okay, 400. And I got it. Oh, you remember that beautiful art that Nick did for us?
Of course.
It was a 727 with all the words, the word art, 727. Yeah. That was beautiful. And anyway, that was on November 19th, 2019. So just over 2 years ago.
Wow.
2019.
Doesn't time fly?
Yeah,
It does.
It really does. We didn't really do anything special for the 400th, although I did receive a very beautiful 727 picture print with some lovely messages from several of you in the community, and I cherish that print, and I'll have that hanging up somewhere soon. It's not hanging right now.
In his toilet.
No, it's not in my
Well,
toilet.
that's kind of a place of honor. Then he can look at it
Oh,
frequently
that's
throughout
true.
the day.
There's a
Yeah.
throne.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Brent Wright, for some reason, he's several minutes back behind here in the show, and is asking if you can eject from a T-38. Yes, you can. Yeah, it has a very good ejection system. Anyway, distraction. Squirrel.
What?
Let's talk about what has been happening, again, as we mentioned. There we go. Squirrel.
That's a very pretty
since the last episode. Am I breaking up or freezing?
No.
No.
Okay. because you guys were on my end. Huh, that's interesting.
We were doing that on
because
purpose.
it's hardwired. Oh, stop that.
Second time today.
Anyway, so it was just Friday. They were recording 498. We're on 499. And then next week, a week from day after tomorrow, is, right, 500. And we've talked about it quite a bit, and looking forward to that. We're going to be doing a simulcast from a venue in Atlanta and a venue over at Farnborough, Farnborough Airport, the museum there, and we'll talk a little bit more about that maybe, because it will be our last opportunity to talk about it before we actually do the 500th recording.
Very true.
So,
yep,
lots of stuff happening in the background. I'm not sure if the rooms and the special room rate is still available or not. We'll continue to put that in a link in the show notes if you're interested in joining us in Atlanta and getting a room. Get a room.
Get a room.
By the way, Steph, got your room.
Yep.
So you're covered.
Okay.
And
that's good to know.
Yes.
I still have to get a room for Saturday night, but that's not in
Well,
Atlanta.
I can't help you there.
It's not in Atlanta anyway, so don't worry about it. That's just on my to-do list.
Good job Jeff didn't book it for Saturday night as well then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I knew that she had to leave early Saturday morning.
Yeah, I'm leaving
so
early
I
Saturday
figured
morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. On an Acme
Liz says she could book it for
757.
you. Liz said she could book that for you if you give her some information. But
no, it's tricky. Thank you. I appreciate you being my personal travel agent, Liz, but I got to do some research as to where I actually need to be in the town that I'm traveling to, and I don't know yet. I haven't. Yeah, I'll have time to do that this weekend. Hopefully, I don't know. Everything where I want to be is sold out, so I need to reconsider my options.
You lead such a boring life, Steve.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
Just
Anyway,
a big yawn.
What else? Let's see. I have not flown since we did No, I was on a trip when we did the last episode, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came home on Saturday morning, did some singing Saturday afternoon, and then I was at the cabin Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and today. And ended up going into Roswell at my church to sing at a funeral this morning because they needed a male voice to accompany a couple of the female voices. And anyway, and then drove back up, and here I am. And I picked up some flying for tomorrow through Saturday, figuring that this is a good opportunity for someone like me who doesn't really have any family obligations at the moment, and to do some flying and maybe give another pilot an opportunity to be home with their family. So I'm going to be flying tomorrow between Atlanta and Chattanooga and then back. Really long flight. It's like 25 minutes or something. And then heading over or up to White Plains, New York. And we have HPN, somebody near and dear to all of us, our professional radio, TV, award-winning guy that does our announcements at the beginning of the show, who lives up in that area. He'll be in Atlanta on Friday the 3rd of December to do a live announcement for the show. And in the meantime, I decided it would be a good idea for me to maybe go up there and rehearse with him and make sure he gets it right. So
wise.
I'm going to see Radio Roger in White Plains tomorrow. So I'm going to get to have Thanksgiving dinner with his family. So I'm looking forward to that. So, and then
absolutely give him my very best, please.
Likewise, please wish him a happy
I'll do that.
Thanksgiving.
And then I'll be in Meltdown Town on Friday.
Where is that?
MDT. That's
okay.
Harrisburg.
Yeah.
So somebody told me that last week. I thought
that's funny. I'd not
Town.
heard that before.
This 3 Mile Island is right next to Harrisburg,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, and that's where they had the react. No, it has nothing to do with Hershey's chocolate. It has everything to do with that nuclear reactor that was kind of melting down. So
in like 77 or something. Yeah,
it was in the 70s, I think. But I had the same reaction stuff. I went, Meltdown Town. Oh, that's pretty funny.
Really funny, actually. I'm never going to forget
soon?
that now. I did not know that airport identifier, and now I do, and Or I may have noted.
Well, because I always struggle when I see MDT, and I think,
Like,
okay, I know where that is. It's right.
It doesn't make you
But
think
now,
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
no, but now, I'll know exactly. Oh yeah, Meltdown Day.
Meltdown Day.
That's Harrisburg. Anyway, I'll be there on Friday and then home on Saturday. So that's it from me. Things I believe are going pretty well as far as the leading up here to the 500th. And I think I've gotten all the details, ironed out with the folks at the Renaissance Concourse Hotel. It's going to be a lot of fun. We still have room if you make sure you contact Nick to get a ticket. Oh, wait, no, you don't need a ticket.
No, don't do that, please.
Yeah.
We're full.
If you're coming to Atlanta, we have lots of space.
And
we'll make room.
Need to contact them. You just
we'll
pitch
make
up.
room.
We'll get really close to each other and share germs if we have to.
Yes, exactly.
Just kidding.
Anyway, how's everything going over there for the 500th at Farnborough?
Well, we're sold out. We've done good.
Okay.
Actually, the reason we've sold out is partly because of the fantastic interest, and thank you very much indeed, UK APGers, and partly because they suddenly slapped a limit on the number of seats. We assumed we would have a few more, but I did hear that they were bulking a little bit at the numbers we were bringing, so they said, "Oh, please, no more. We're concerned that we might have too many people." I don't know whether they're worried about the strength of the structure, possibly the fire escapes. I don't know. Anyway, fact is that I can't sell any more or give away any more golden tickets.
He slipped. He said sell. What do you do? How much are you selling these things for, Nick?
Oh, shh.
But you slipped up.
They're gold tickets. What do you think I'm selling them for? God, 31. We're going to have 31 people at our end total, so that'll be absolutely fantastic. And great news today. It looks like Captain Al is not coming. So I'm only joking. He got his time off. His roster bid worked, and he's coming. He was the only one of the panel here that I was a bit concerned about. So
we're always concerned about Captain Al.
We're concerned for other reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I need to get in touch with him. So if you're listening to
yes,
this,
you
Al,
do,
I will
please. And
be
you
in
need
touch.
You've already got a few days to get that
There's
organised.
so much time. Don't worry.
I know, it's great. Well, you only need 10 minutes. That's
5.
all it takes.
Really 5.
5 minutes. Well, you're going to squeeze it into 5 minutes, aren't you? Anyway, we're looking forward to seeing that video. Now, for those who are coming to Farnborough, you should have all had your golden tickets. And in fact, I think everybody that asked for one has got one. So if you applied and you haven't heard, just check, like Dave, just check your junk folder in your email. Check your junk.
Nick has a very suspicious email address, so it just goes straight to your junk.
Right. So check your junk because it might be there.
That is something totally different.
Yes, I know.
Email.
I was looking at
Jeff
checking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
HR has the night off, folks. What can I say?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, and if you want to help me check my junk in Atlanta, show up on the 3rd.
If you stand up, we can all check your junk, Jeff. Because it could be residing there. So don't think you've been forgotten and don't fail to pitch up. So if you're in any doubt, I will, confirm that I have sent one to you. If you write to me, old.pilot@ntlworld.com. And the other thing I was going to say was I will be contacting everybody that I have given a golden ticket to, and also the co-presenters up this end of the world, with a few details about where it is, where to park, time to pitch up, time that we'll have to depart by, etc. So you'll get some details. So no need to write to me. They will arrive in a day or 2 or 3, possibly 4.
Speaking of
sometime
parking,
before Friday.
Yes. Yeah.
The parking at the Renaissance is not free. just to warn you. But we did get a break on the normal $23 a night parking fee.
Just pay us directly.
$14 for
bargain.
the yeah.
Stop.
Or just $100 for the 2 nights if you want. I don't know, it's up to you. But anyway, just to kind of warn you about that. And if you want to try to figure out where to park away so you don't have to pay for that, good luck. I don't know. I'd like to know myself. Brian, where have you been, man? He asked, will there be a second chicken nugget contest? How many have we had already?
No, there's way more than 2. We've done
I know.
3.
Sure, done 3 at least.
Yeah. 3.
And we did one at Wings, not Wings Over Pits. We did one at Oshkosh. And that
and we did one. You guys did one at the PTOK too.
200, yeah.
200.
Yeah. Been a bunch.
There's been some chicken nugget eating contests.
4.
Yeah, 3, maybe 4,
So anyway, all
I know is he's got the trophy right now, and that's not cool. So I need to win that back.
It's definitely not cool. In fact, I think it's in several pieces.
It was in several pieces.
For those who are coming to Farnborough, I was going to put a little taster in of what you can see in the museum. Is now a good time for you, Jeff?
A taster? Chicken nuggets?
Yes, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Well, we're now down in the main part of the museum, down in
doesn't look like a chicken nugget.
No, not a
school
lot.
building, and I'm standing in front of one of the original flight Whittle engines. This is the W2700, which was flown in the E2839 as part of the early work on jet engines. Whittle used centrifugal compressors because the understanding at that time from superchargers was how the centrifugal compressors worked, and it was a short-term solution which went right through when Rolls-Royce took over, of course. It went through into the early 50s, and then everything moved towards axial compressors, which REE were working on at the time, and that was a bigger problem and not such a quick solution. So a wartime solution provided this. And he uses a very simple system with quite a complex burner system, which wasn't very efficient, but worked at the time. And that was all they could really do. In the war, they were trying to work as quickly as they can and get the system working. So this worked. This flew for a number of hours in one of the models we have here is of the system. We also have some models of the Miles M52, which was going to be the supersonic aircraft, and we have one of the original models from Miles of 1944, which came to us via various people who obtained them during the war. So the genesis of the jet engine is really from the Whittle to the axial compressor, then through to the work that went on at National Gas Turbine at Pystock, just over the road from Farnborough, where they had 2 systems really, a research area and a test cell. So the test cell started off with number 1 test cell, which was reheat and rocket work, then into numbers 2, 3 West, which were gas turbines, to number 4, which was the Concorde. And that could run an engine at 50,000 feet, minus 60 degrees, at Mach 2 with about 10 degrees of yaw. It was one of the best test facilities in the world. Well, it was the best. And that has now all closed down, and a large number of the artifacts have come over here. We have a number of research engines, a number of compressors, a number of turbines. So almost the whole history we can describe here, and along with all the reports we have and the photographs allow us to look at a complete history of aviation from about 1915 onwards, right through to 1992. One of the most important tools in aviation research is the wind tunnel. So the work can be done under controlled conditions before you build anything, before you fly. And the wind tunnels at Farnborough were some of the best in the world again, with slow speed, transonic, supersonic, hypersonic. All the tunnels were here at Farnborough. This here is one of the wind tunnel models that was used as one of the last wind tunnel models used at Bedford. The tunnels moved from Farnborough to Bedford during the change in the 1950s, when Bedford became the main flying area. And this was an option which looks very much like an F-35 and was being worked on. Here you can see all the pressure tappings which measure the flow over the wing, and that can be made at various angles, speeds, so you can then begin to calculate the lift and calculate and look at the problems will come before you start to build the aeroplane. And these are all different types of models, from small models, which really come from the high-speed tunnels, and then the low-speed tunnels are aircraft made out of wood. So consequently, and now of course in composites, fiberglass and carbon fiber. But all the work, aerodynamics is probably one of the most important areas, because in the end, if it doesn't work, you don't stay in the air. And if it's a difficult aircraft to fly, it makes it quite complex. So the handling qualities and everything can be looked at in the tunnel and transferred before you actually build the thing. And probably the most important thing is you can repeat the measurements one after another in exactly the same conditions, which when you're flying, of course, you can't, because the winds change, the speeds change, the density of the air changes. So consequently, and the Farnborough now still has a large low-speed tunnel, the 5-metre tunnel, which goes up to about for landing speeds, and that's used for all the areas where CFD and computer modelling is not very good. High-speed work is good for modelling. Low-speed work is very difficult when you've got everything hanging down, the wheels, the flaps, the slats. All the interferences aren't well modelled yet. They're getting better, but you still need the tunnel. Tunnels are still used for it. So here in the museum, you'll be very welcome to come at any time to have a good look round. It's a science museum. We have a very large spread of sciences, space, instrumentation, photographic, enormous that, and you'll be very welcome to come here at any time and have a good look round. And we'll be glad to help you find, if you ever need to go into the archive, just email us and we can find something in 1915. If you want to know about the poppet valve problems in an RAF-1A engine in 1915, we can tell you what the problems were.
Well,
thank
I want to know if
goodness.
there's
I
going
was
to be...
really worried that I'd never learn about that.
I was wondering, the most important question for me is there beer and crisps?
Yes, there is going to be beer and sandwiches.
Okay.
And Miami Rick, I'm sure, would be in seventh heaven wandering around that place. And thanks very much indeed to everyone there who's shown us such a warm welcome. And we can't wait to have our 500 there. And thanks very much indeed to Graham for standing there and giving us a little bit of information about the museum.
And we have a guy just like that guy that's going to be over at the Renaissance Concourse telling us about the history of fried chicken.
You got Colonel Sanders?
Yeah.
No, the Popeyes fried chicken magnate. Whoever that is.
I don't know who that is.
Mr. Popeye.
Mr. Popeye. I feel like he was a spinach connoisseur.
Popeye the Sailor Man. Yeah. This is before Popeye got on that whole health kick.
I gotcha. Yeah. First was fried chicken, then spinach. Gotcha.
No, I'm sorry. Let's be serious. That man is amazing. And is he going to be actually present at the time?
Yes, he will.
Recording?
I suspect he'll be wandering around because it's not a normal. They're opening the museum especially for us. It's not a normal opening day. They have got some volunteers who will be there to show everyone around. If you come up in the afternoon, say about 2:30 onwards, probably. Then they will have people around there, and the scientists, of which Graham is one, are just fascinating. Of course, more knowledge, brains the size of a planet. They're unbelievable. But they're all there, and they can talk the hind leg of a donkey, no problem. Very interesting people.
Excellent. All right. Well, I cannot wait for our next little get-together, which will be a week from this Friday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's Steph been doing?
Well, last time I saw you guys, I did some running.
Yeah.
That was fun.
During the
running.
show.
During the show.
Drunk
Sorry.
running, yes.
Drunk running.
Yes.
I only had 2 beers. I mean, they were both like 7 and 7.8% or something. That's actually
like
necessary
4
before you.
normal
It's
beers.
necessary before you do a night trail run, because otherwise you're too nervous that you're going to trip over everything, and
As you do.
You're all. It just relaxes you a little bit, so you're less concerned about, spraining your ankle or hitting your head on a tree or something.
You're just really not concerned about anything.
You're just really not concerned about anything. makes it go by faster. That was fun. Then I spent all day Saturday and Sunday flying, so that was good. I hadn't done that for a couple weekends because of other engagements. So I think I showed up on Saturday at the drop zone, and I ended up flying just because they were short-staffed in other places by myself for the first few loads, even though I'm not usually it's not usually my day to fly per se. I'm just there to help out and assist if they find themselves a little short-handed. So that was good. And kind of the same thing on Saturday. We took a plane up to maintenance on Sunday. Sorry, I took a plane to maintenance on Sunday night, which is a lot nicer in the winter because we finished flying much earlier. So even though it's dark and cold, you end up getting back not at midnight from taking a plane over to maintenance for 100-hour inspection and whatnot. And been a busy week, work week wise. Obviously, we're coming up to the holiday here in the U.S. tomorrow, and it's also that time of year for in healthcare where everyone has met their deductible and would like to get everything done before the end of the year. So, just trying to accommodate as many people as possible, get them seen, get their procedures done, and it's been busy.
All right, so you've been busy working.
I'm very much looking forward to some time off for the weekend, and then seeing
Lots
you
of
all next
turkey.
weekend. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not cooking, so I've delegated that to other people, and I'm just going to show up at their house and hope that the food's good.
Excellent. I mean, if it's not, are there lots of restaurants with big turkeys?
There's some. It's more common than it used to be able to go out and get a Thanksgiving dinner, like at a restaurant. It's possible, but no.
In Atlanta, they have the big chicken, but not the big turkey.
Say, you could just have some chicken nuggets.
I will be enjoying the company of friends and family tomorrow. I'm just not the one doing all of the cooking. So.
Well, have a great celebration.
Thank you. Will do.
And are you going to be bringing those Reaper?
I don't know that I have any sad
chips or whatever
situation.
they call those things. Yeah.
Yeah, the one chip challenges.
I'd stay away from it. Yeah.
I thought a Reaper was a drone, but
it is, and it's also
a type of
person.
Pepper that is.
Oh, so this drone fires peppers at people.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. There's the Reaper.
There he is. Oh, look at him.
Yes. That's exactly what you wish would come after
pepper.
you eat a Reaper pepper.
Yeah, you feel like
just
you're
take
dying.
me now. I don't care. I want it to end. End it soon.
Well, Steph likes putting herself through pain. That's why she's one of the hosts of the show.
Yes, very true.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, you don't need to agree with that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
I thought I was supposed to.
Too late.
Too late.
Yeah, too late.
Did I say that?
Okay, well, you did.
Well,
Yeah, it's time for us now to talk about our coffee fund, which is your way to support the show financially.
Johnny, how much more coffee?
No thanks.
I love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup.
Oh, yeah. It's the Coffee Fund. Your way to support the show financially. A couple of different ways to do that. One is the Coffee Fund Classic method, the OG Coffee Fund cadre. And it's basically a PayPal donation page. You can do a one-time, one-off donation, or you can do recurring donations. David Lieb does that. He has made a recurring donation. And we do have a overlay there, Liz, if you want to throw that up there. That's all right. And also, we got a special donation for the 500th from Lima Zulu, or LZ, Landing Zone, whatever you want to call it. He didn't want anybody to, he didn't want to use his real name. I understand that. And Patreon is the other way that you can support the show. And we have no new patrons this week. So if you want to learn more about how you can participate in this wonderful group of, this wonderful group of people, head over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. You'll be glad you did. We will too.
Captain, incoming message.
We have some feedback for you. We're going to start with this one, and it is from Greg, the big ass fan company guy. Now it's funny because somebody sent us some LZ sent us some feedback, and one of the things he said is that okay, I hear you talk about the big ass fan company. I just thought that was like an alias for like a company like General Electric jet engines or something like that. And then he goes,
like
wait a minute.
No, that actually exists.
No, it really is the big ass fan company. I know. You go, well, it couldn't possibly be a real company name. It is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the other thing he said is that, when we talk about the introduction for Dr. Steph, we talk about the
real big asses.
Yeah, big ass. I mean, the what do we call backstabbing jumper dumper? And he thought it was just like because she was dumping people out of her airplane. No, that's kicking him in the butt or something. But that's not the backstabbing we're talking about. She actually stabs people in the back with syringes. Yes. Okay, not really stabbing, but
injecting's a better
injecting
word for that.
Yeah, whatever.
I like stabbing.
Yeah, you're stabbing.
That just
anyway
came from the explain your job poorly trend. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, leave it to us to do that for you.
Thank you.
Anyway, Greg, who does work at the Big Ass Fan Company, really, in Lexington, Kentucky, sent us this. NTSB cites Tamarack mod in crash. The company, though, not happy about this. He said, I think I recall you guys talking about this crash on one of the episodes. I tried to find the episode, but I couldn't. Or at least a similar crash, because I remember the Atlas acronym. Could this be the end of this mod on aircraft? Now, you know what? We talked about this mod, this Tamarack mod. I'm not sure if we talked about it on a jet, though. I thought it was a different type of airplane that the Tamarack system on the one we were talking about. It was a different incident. But no matter. This, I guess there was a crash of a Citation jet that we're showing the picture of right there. Tamarack makes this active winglet technology that changes the camber of the camber surfaces attached to the wing to alleviate stress induced by winglets. This enables installing winglets without adding complex additional structure to the wing spars, which would be necessary due to the added load induced by the winglets. The NTSB wrote in its report that the left TACS malfunctioned shortly after takeoff. The board wrote that it became stuck trailing edge up on the left wing for reasons that could not be determined. The company responded, the forensic evidence collected in the investigation indicates that the load alleviation system was indeed operational. There are inconsistencies within the report that do not support the conclusion published by the NTSB. As an example, Tamarack cited what it claims are discrepancies in the bank angle at which the pilot should have been alerted, among others. For its part, the NTSB wrote, the investigation found that 5 uncommanded roll incidents have been reported to either the European Union Aviation Safety Agency or the Federal Aviation Administration involving airplanes equipped with Atlas. The company said on Thursday Tamarack intends to request the NTSB reconsider its finding as per its own procedures. Tamarack will provide a more detailed response after further consideration of the NTSB's recent announcement. So sounds like they're kind of asking for a stay, a reinvestigation or something. Like, let's take another look here because I think we think that you got this wrong.
Yeah, they're I guess, inevitably fighting their corner because otherwise the liabilities are going to be pretty extensive. So I guess the NTSB, being the fair people they are, will probably do that. Whether they change their findings or not, I don't know.
I don't know. But, yeah, again, we did talk about an incident with the Tamarack mod, but I don't think it was this one. So anyway, thanks, Greg, for thinking about us when you saw this news item. Hey, this was somewhat... Oh, yeah, we'll see you in Atlanta, Liz said. We were going to do this piece of feedback, I think, on a previous episode, but we ran out of time. This was sent to us by Thomas, and he says, this is a video, a YouTube video. Let's do some auto rotation practice. And so now what I'm going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to share this video here. And it looks like, I don't know all the details and the context of this, but it appears to be a helicopter practicing an auto rotation. It doesn't look like it's a real one because at the very end, you'll see why I think that. And we don't have in this video, we don't have the air traffic control communication. So we're not sure if this is a controlled field or if it's an uncontrolled field.
Uncontrolled to me, just from...
Yeah, it did. But we don't know if there were some like call out saying, hey, I'm a helicopter doing an auto rotation practice, and I'm not where you're probably used to seeing me because I'm like right above the airport coming down really, really fast. So again, we're not sure what communications occurred here because it's not in this video, but let's watch this and especially watch toward the end of this and you'll see it's pretty eye-opening, I would say.
What annoys me about the title of this video, because nothing much is happening right now, the guy's just let his engine go back to idle and he's starting to auto-rotate down, is that it's titled Crazy Helicopter Robinson Crash. And there is no crash.
Yeah, I didn't see a crash.
I wasn't sure if that was referring to this video or like the one that comes after it.
No, it's in the title.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway, he's coming down closer towards the runway. All looks very normal, lining up nicely. And he's...
Oh, surprise!
Oh. Right from underneath it, an airplane, a Cessna, high-wing Cessna, appears.
Yeah. Now, he was lined up with the right-hand edge of the runway, and this guy must have been separated laterally from him by about 20 feet, if that.
Not much, yeah.
So I'm going to play the very beginning of this, and you can, and I've turned the sound down so we can talk over it. You can see the Cessna they're kind of holding short of the runway right now, and it's kind of covered up by the instrument panel of this helicopter, this Robinson helicopter. But I think the airplane is just starting to take the runway, and apparently doesn't realize that this helicopter is coming down very rapidly.
Yeah, and now the helicopter can't see him at all, probably.
No.
Maybe.
It's got a hole in the roof, haven't they? But
no, not necessarily.
Oh, right.
Maybe let's see. If this one does.
They almost did after this incident.
If it didn't, it does now. Right.
That is right about now. There we go.
Nope. No hole in the roof.
Nope.
Nah.
Yeah, and then he adds power to the helicopter at the very end, so there's no crash. Almost
no crash.
A crash.
No crash. I feel like it was more like just like took their attention away from what they were doing, and they were like, "Oh, hey, we don't want to continue down to the ground at this rate."
At some point, though, you'd think that this Cessna rolling for takeoff would, in his or her scan outside and in front of the airplane, that they would have seen this thing coming down, but apparently
you would think it. I mean, it just depends, right? So, yeah, exactly. Eye hole boxes.
Eye hole boxes. The eyes are not the only orifices opening during this video.
Yeah. No. It's pretty dramatic. But if you think about it, you've got the high wing on the Cessna, right? So you can see the Cessna taxiing into position there. If for some reason the wing is just in the right position to block the view of the helicopter, as as he's moving into position, it's actually possible that maybe he really never saw the helicopter.
But wouldn't there be some kind of radio communication announcing?
Well, you would hope
so. If this is a field without a control tower, so everyone's announcing their intentions,
CTAF.
what they're doing on CTAF. Yes, but again, sometimes the timing of those things happen just at the right time where whoever needs to hear it perhaps doesn't hear it. So it's entirely possible that all of the right radio calls were made at the right time and this still happened.
Yeah. Deanna asks a question that I had. We hear that noise, which to me sounds like a stall horn in a general aviation airplane. Is that something you hear in a helicopter? I don't know anything about helicopters, so I'm wondering if somebody in our chat room
knowledgeable
knows.
enough to.
No, they don't have an equivalent because they haven't got a wing to stall. And they certainly don't have those little flappy sensors in their rotor blades. It's probably a warning of some type. What it is?
There's a Cessna taking off
maybe
below
that is
you.
the power is all the way at. It could be like power is all the way at idle, and you're still this height
Jeff
up
has
over
it.
the ground.
It's the Cessna takeoff warning.
Yes, the Cessna taking off below you warning on the same runway.
I'd like to point out this is a GoPro. They have a really wide-angle lens, and this is like looking into your rear vision wing mirror. Objects may
appear closer or further.
Objects
are closer
may
than
be
they
closer
appear.
than they appear.
Yeah.
This Cessna was horrendously close. I mean, it looks close enough in a wide-angle lens. In reality, it would have been brushing that helicopter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this does look like an uncontrolled field to me, though. I don't see any evidence of.
Oh yeah.
Sort of
Yeah, you're right.
It's also tiny and it's just on the side of a highway.
Right
somewhere.
next to the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of GA aircraft there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that it wasn't really a Robinson helicopter crash.
Yeah. It was still
close.
crazy. It was crazy.
Very crazy. Speaking of crazy. No, go ahead.
I was going to say several of our chat room folks think it's the low rotor RPM warning system.
Which that makes sense.
So power at idle at a,
Yep. Yeah, because when you got the engine on idle and you're auto-rotating in like that, you're using the air to turn the rotor. And then you get it up to a high enough speed that when you pull on the collective at the end, you can cushion your landing. As I understand it, not being a helicopter pilot.
Mm-hmm. That sounds about right to me.
Well, speaking of crazy, let's move on with this next piece of feedback from our friend Pasadena Brian.
Oh, you're trying to say Pasadena Brian's crazy?
That's exactly what I'm.
Well,
he's
he was
also
crazy
with us in the
enough.
live audience.
He was crazy enough to very kindly offer to pick up a set of bowling balls I'd left at Pasadena a few years ago, because I used to bowl at the Pasadena Lawn Bowling Club, and bring them all the way to England. Considering they weigh half a ton, I thought that was going to be excess baggage and cost him a bomb, but I'd already sold them to one of the members in
So
Pasadena.
that I was a little confused because of the subject line of his email was Nick's balls.
Yes, it was.
And I didn't even go any further. I went ahead and deleted that.
Right
I didn't
there.
even want to read it.
This is not safe to open in the company of other people. Probably.
Yes, not safe for work.
Well, thanks very much for your kind offer, Pasadena Brian, but no, I flogged him for $100.
All right. Well, he writes, Captain Jeff and crew, here are 2 questions for the show. Hopefully you guys can answer them, as you have flown in and out of LAX a few times, Los Angeles International. Yes, more than a few times. Hope all is well and hope you're enjoying your time in the cabin. I am. In fact, that's where I am right now recording the show. So let's hear what Brian sent in for his audio feedback.
Hi, Captain Jeff and other captains. This is Pasadena Brian, and I wanted to send 2 bits of feedback in the same recording just to save some time and hopefully make your show a little bit shorter. My question today involves 2 flights I've taken recently. One was a Southwest flight where I flew to Albuquerque. The other was a United flight where I flew to Tampa. There were 2 really unique things that happened to me at LAX that have never happened before. Both flights took off from runway 25 right. The United flight was really interesting because we did the normal departure, flew out towards Catalina, made the U-turn to head back towards Tampa. The thing that was really unusual with this one is we were so incredibly low. When we went over the Palos Verdes Peninsula, I swear, when I looked out the window, I could read newspaper from some guy who was sitting at the park. I just have no idea why we were so low and was wondering if you had any idea. The other question I had was on the Southwest flight where we took off as normal from 25 right. However, by the time we got to the beach, we had already crossed all the runways on the left-hand side, the south side of the airport. And I've never been on a departure where before we get to the water, we've crossed over the 2-4 left and right runways. So I was just wondering what could have happened there. Was Southwest just trying to save some money and take a shortcut to Albuquerque? And who knows, maybe this is an opposing basis question. I could get a better answer out of those guys since, controllers might know what the heck's going on. You're just pilots. Anyway, hope all's well with everyone. Stay safe. Remember, wash your hands, get vaccinated, all that good stuff. Take care and fly safely. This is Pasadena Brian.
Yeah, but you forget, those guys are pilots too.
They are. So they're even more suspect.
Exactly. Even more so. So I thought, wait a minute. I think he's mixing up the 2-4s and the 2-5s there. I think he took off on both of those flights on 2-4 left, and the second one, which was interesting, was that he said that they had crossed the southern runways 2-5 left and right, before they even got to the coastline. And that is unusual. Usually you go out over the water for quite a ways before you start your turn and parallel the coast there, off the, heading south toward Catalina and then back around Palos Verdes and along the shore of Long Beach and San Pedro and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, and I asked him. I followed up with this with him on the airplane types. Obviously, Southwest was the 737, and the United was also a 737. So I have no idea what kept the United airplane so low, because they're usually pretty good climbers, even when they're doing basically a coast-to-coast flight, LA to Tampa. They may have had some kind of a low-altitude restriction, something happening above them that the air traffic controllers didn't want them to climb any higher than a certain altitude. But in my experience, that is not normal. And obviously in Brian's experience as a passenger, he thought it was not normal either. So I'm not sure exactly why you could actually read the newspapers from the people, sitting there on the benches on the coastline. And then the Southwest thing, and unless it was a time of day where there just wasn't much traffic, which is kind of, again, uncommon for LAX, I have no idea.
Yeah. So that was my thought with the Southwest thing, is that for some reason they were just in this weird gap where there was no one else in the area and they were just immediate left turnout, With the United one, and I agree with you, Jeff, performance on the 7.3, like I've taken off out of, been a passenger on a 7.3 anyway, out of Midway in Chicago many, many, many times. And yeah, there's definitely good performance and climb rate there. But interesting, the times that I sit at the airport overlook here in Charlotte and just watch airplanes for a while waiting for traffic to kind of calm down at the end of the day before driving home, which I do sometimes, especially in the summer when it's nice out and I sit in the sunshine and just relax a minute. The different and relatively long runway, so 10,000 plus feet. The difference in just what you know is between, like, let's just take like an A321 or something that's similar or even larger than a 737. The Airbuses and the 737, as they're crossing the end of the field, taking off, it always seems like the A321s, the A320s, A319s are at a much higher altitude already than where the 73s are. They seem noticeably low, kind of crossing the end of the runway at kind of a minimum height. And I don't know if that has to do with fuel planning, weights. I have no idea. But it's definitely noticeable. I don't know what you guys think about that. Maybe that's probably a question for like dispatcher Mike to answer.
I don't know. I just suspect that sometimes out of Atlanta, there's traffic that is kind of transiting the Class B at a lower than normal altitude, and so normally we get cleared to 10,000 feet initially off of Atlanta, and sometimes as we're taking the runway, they say amend your altitude to 8,000 or 7,000 or a lower
so
altitude
keep you a
than
lot
you
lower.
would normally.
Yeah.
Yeah, to keep that separation for the traffic that might be crossing close or over the top of you or whatever. So
and especially if you're a ways out from the end of the runway already and you're still pretty low, that makes a lot more sense.
May have been some kind of conflicting traffic that was, lower than normal, and they just decided to keep them below that altitude instead of trying to hope that they were above it by the time they got within the 5 miles.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of, because we used to scoot out over the water and climb up to 2,500, 3,000, 4,000, and then eventually when we got high enough, they'd turn us back in when we had enough height to make sure we cleared the basin. The hills are to the east of LA. I never stayed very low for very long there.
No.
I was just desperately trying to find the little video I made, a little time lapse of a departure from LA, but I can't find it. It was just sad because I would have stuck it up.
Yeah, you are stuck up.
Yes, usually.
Okay.
Given half a chance. Rude man.
I don't know what's happening with my machine. My mouse cursor is like not reacting to all the motions that I'm trying to make. Yeah. Okay. I think I finally got this worked out. Okay. The next, I can't shoot. Help me, please. What's going on?
Do you have a backup
that much
mouse?
going on? Well, I don't think it's the mouse, actually. I think it's the computer is overwhelmed for some reason. I don't know why. It's an M1. It shouldn't have any problems.
You
Google
definitely
Chrome.
have not opened like 4,000.
No,
browser
only
pages.
3,000.
Wow. So it should be totally fine.
What is this? AV Conferenced. It's taking up 50% of my CPU. I don't know what that is.
Somebody's having a conference with your...
Somebody's having a... Hey, who's having a conference? I didn't allow that. I don't know what's going on here.
It's all Pasadena Brian's fault. He says his question killed your computer.
Apparently. I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening here. My computer is freaking out. Okay. We're going to push on.
Do you want me to show it?
Yeah. Play it while Jeff figures out his mouse.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I've just got to go share.
And you'll have
Video
to
file.
Narrate it.
Yeah, I will. Desktop. All right. Now I've got to find it again. JKL, because I just dumped it on my desktop. There we go. Open.
Guys, this is not a plane that I work on very often, but here's a tour of the Boeing 7.
I did not do that.
That's not it.
You did
It's that one. Here we go. All right, so this is us being pushed back out of LA to get everyone on 24 right. As you see, we're very close to the end of the runway. So we push back, we wind up all 4 engines, which doesn't take us long. In time lapse, we watch Southwest go whizzing past many times, and then we taxi out. As you see, this is the end of the runway right here. We're going to do a 180 left. They go southwest, whizzing past. We join them on the runway and off. Now, you see, we're quite low going over the coast, and then we're slowly climbing, but, not making a big deal of it. And we're gently edging our way around to the left until we coast in. There we go. That's Long Beach, and Queen Mary's down there. And then we'll turn. When we've got enough height, they'll turn us towards Seal Beach. And we'll have, 12 or 14,000 feet. That's about all we need to show, really. So I'll remove that as we go out and then head across east towards the Atlantic.
Very cool.
Fixed your computer yet?
No.
There wasn't enough time. You should show the end. Yeah, play the end of it. Is that landing back at Heathrow?
Right. This is arriving at Heathrow now, so we're kind of above the clouds. You can
notice that you're back in England because it's cloudy.
Yes, very true. But the sun is shining, unlike in America where it's all dark. So this is me having a fit because we're going into the cloud.
Is that normally what happens?
Yeah, well, I'm just flashing around a bit, working hard. You notice I'm not flying the airplane. My fine first officer has this leg. This is us just coming into the south of England, and we're going to go past Heathrow. Heathrow will be on our left-hand side, and in a second we're going to start inching around towards the ILS, going through a bit of cloud there, and coming. You can't see much because it's all cloudy. Lots of hands flashing around, maps coming out. Those are the days when we had paper maps. Good Lord, look
how
at
quaint.
That. They were quaint. Yes, exactly right. So scooting on around the corner, and can't see a great deal of what's happening, except the fact there's probably a bit of ice building up. The windscreen wipers are on. Must be on the approach now. There we go. Here comes bright, sunny old England coming out there. Windscreen wipers off. Scooting through a bit of low cloud. There's Heathrow. Bang it down on 27 left. And the fastest taxiing you've ever seen.
Wow, you took that high speed really a lot faster than I did.
Well, that's why it's called a high speed.
Oh, well,
yeah.
True.
Into the old lemurs. Waving at our colleagues, trying to taxi out. And
I was waving at Adam in the tower.
Yes, that's very good. Okay, right. That's a quick trip from LA to Heathrow.
Wow, that was a lot faster. Yeah.
If someone could actually make that happen, I'd be.
If only Pasadena Brian could do it that quick.
No, I don't really want it to be that quick because I count on getting my good night's sleep on that crossing. So you hit the ground running in the morning.
Well, from LA, it's a lovely long flight. You can get a good night's
From
sleep.
the East Coast, it's sometimes not long enough.
Yeah, it can. Sometimes it's only 5.5, 6 hours, and by the time you mess about and get airborne and things, there's really not much time
leaving
to
out
sleep.
of like New York or Boston or anything because you just don't get to sleep. It's not cool.
That's true. I haul boxes is not certain I'm actually retired.
You know how we know he's retired, I haul boxes? Because he's busier now than he ever was when he was working.
Very true.
Suddenly his schedule is full.
Don't ever retire.
Yeah, it's too much work.
Absolutely.
Okay. I do not have full control yet, but I'm gonna click. I think the cursor is about where it's supposed to be to play this next video. Who is this video from? Somebody that can get to Evernote, please tell me.
Is it number 7? Is it Andrew? Update to NOTAMs? No.
Andrew.
Is there a video?
Yes, there is some video. And that's what I'm going to attempt. And that's what Nick started to play, thinking that it was his video, but it wasn't. It was Andrew's video.
Sorry about that.
This is a tour of the Boeing 717 from a flight attendant's perspective. So it has nothing to do with the cockpit and flying the airplane. It
doesn't sound like anything to do with NOTAMs either.
No, nothing.
Oh, so this is not from Andrew then.
Oh,
I'm sorry. It is from Andrew. They're both from Andrew. I clicked ahead one too far.
Okay.
I was right.
Now that we got that all straight.
Even though I was wrong, I was actually right.
I'm really confused.
It's from
I am
Andrew
too.
still.
I'm just gonna push this. I'm gonna click the mouse and see what happens.
Guys, this is not a plane that I work on very often, but here's a tour of the Boeing 717. My coworker Thomas here is setting up the handy wipes to give out. We enter into the front galley with the 2 jump seats. Got some coffee makers, some bins, some carts, got all my supplies, or some of my supplies anyway. Then on the other side, I've got my other coworker over here. Hey! We've got more coffee makers, more bins, more carts. You see he's pulling out the water to set up first class.
You guys must drink a lot of
down
coffee.
the aisle here, we've got our first lavatory, which is bathroom. Got a little toilet, a little sink, little napkins, tissues, all that good jazz. All right, into my first class cabin. This is a 4x3 configuration. 3 rows of 4
Look at how
seats,
big that
nice
airplane is.
and spacious seats.
It's
nice
very
leg warmers,
cozy.
but no entertainment center on this one. This is an older aircraft, guys. As we step into the Comfort Plus area, you'll notice we have a 2x3 seat configuration. The bins on the 2-seat side don't have much overhead bin space. The bins on the 3-seat side have deeper bins. So you can actually fit those larger rollerboards, wheels or handles first. On this side, they have to go in sideways. This is the only plane where it's okay to turn the bag sideways, all right? We've got a couple of exit rows coming up here where you can step out onto the wing in the event of an emergency. This 21E is my favorite seat, or 21A. There's no seat in front of it. Other than that, here's the rest of the aircraft, guys. It's not a very big plane. She's the Barbie dream jet of the fleet. Got my bags up here with my snacks, and this back here, you got a couple more bathrooms, and this is my jump seat. I'm sitting in the tail cone. As always, you push the door, bifold door opens up, got a toilet, sink, there you go, you do. Other side, exact same thing. Push, toilet, sink, do the do. All right, and once again, here's my jump seat area. In order for me to sit down, you pull this up. Oh, hard to pull up. Anyway, you pull this up, you sit down, my lap belt is hidden behind there, and then you see my shoulder straps. All right, and if you need to evacuate, you can evacuate out of that area. There is a slide back there. But yep, oh, here comes Thomas prancing up the aisle, and here's me almost touching the ceiling. I barely fit on this plane. Take care, bye.
So you can evacuate out of that door or in either of the toilets.
Yes, but preferably the door. That's the better way to evacuate. Oh, I see. Evacuate. Very clever. And just to kind of correct what he said, the fact that there is no backseat entertainment system has nothing to do with the age of the airplane. There are many airplanes that are out flying that are much older than this airplane, and they have entertainment systems. It has more to do with the fact that it's short, kind of segment kind of flying. That's what it was designed for. So our company, or that company, decided not to install the entertainment systems.
Well, fair enough. I see Steph's making a PA.
Yeah, Steph's calling somebody to report us, I think.
Yes, I think. Yes.
The jig is up.
Yeah,
all right.
So.
Well, my computer is still not behaving.
Is this your M1?
Yeah, it's my M1, and I just don't know what is upsetting it so much. It's just like it will not work. Oh wait, okay. No, it's not my mouse.
No, it works.
I just replaced the battery in it. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, okay. Let's see if I can find Evernote, which is our. Oh, no. Of course, now the keyboard is not working. Yeah, great.
I think he's got an M1 Pro, Brian.
No, it's just a regular M1.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like issues? Bluetooth is like not it's a Bluetooth mouse
need new
and
batteries
a Bluetooth
in the mouse?
No, I just replaced the battery in the mouse. So that's not the problem.
Have you thrown the mouse through the window yet? That helps.
I'm thinking about it.
Have you turned everything off and then turn it all back on? And
well,
then turn around in
that
your
would
seat
kind
about
of,
3 times and
that might
call
help.
IT.
We're kind of in the middle of a show. And I really don't want to turn everything off if I can help it. Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can get any response from. Okay.
Check the cable on the wireless mouse.
Yeah, I think. Oh, that could be the problem. I don't see the cable. Okay, I think I'm now controlling. Okay, here we go. Andrew, I think this is this a different Andrew?
So the last names are very suspiciously similar, yet different.
Yeah.
One is Mart and the other is Martz. And I'm thinking that, which hence my confusion prior to playing that video.
I think it's the same guy.
I think so too.
Okay, well, this is the next one from Andrew, and this does have something to do with NOTAMs. And he said, good news, the NOTAM system has been fixed.
Woohoo!
What?
Yay!
That's great. Turns out all the FAA had to do was make it more gender inclusive. NOTAMs are no longer notices to airmen, but rather notices to air missions. Much better. All issues have been resolved with the NOTAM system. Okay, wait. I think you're being a little facetious. Has nothing to do.
Let's talk
with
about
how
what the
screwed
real
up.
problems are with NOTAMs.
Now, I know there are a few air missionaries around, but why do they get their own NOTAMs? I don't understand.
All the NOTAMs are just for them now, so you can ignore all the NOTAMs.
Oh, okay.
If you're not an air missionary.
Yeah.
I did follow up with this and thinking, okay, is that what did that come from? Is this true? And he sent me the actual reference. It's one of the air traffic. He's an air traffic controller, and it's one of their what do you call it? Documents or manuals or regulations or whatever. So I'll put a link
briefly
to that.
make some news on some of the aviation groups that I'm a member of on social medias, and then everyone quickly seemed to forget it and move on with their lives.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever. I mean, I have no problem if you can just. We don't even have to make it mean anything. It just be NOTAM, and everybody understands what it is. They're still garbage. You're right, Liz. They're still garbage.
That's how words work. Like at some point in the past, they were because of something, and then they become a meaning unto themselves, right? So NOTAM.
Right.
Does it have to stand for something?
Yeah.
No. It's just the thing that you have to read hundreds of pages of before you take a trip, 30 miles away to make sure that there's not birds in the vicinity of the airport, which there always are.
Oh, wait. There are always birds in the vicinity.
Cranes. There's a crane 200 meters.
Yeah.
Some distance from the field.
And
Unlighted.
some taxiway lighting is out on a bit of the airfield you'll never ever
go
near.
to.
or non-standard symbology on the
that's
taxiway
been
signs.
non-standard for 5 years.
Yeah.
They still haven't
or
fixed
non-standard lighting, and we'd never have noticed.
Yes.
Oh, I like notices to all air masters of the air. Notice of pilot errata. Nope.
Notices to that would be good. All masters, yes, very good.
Well, anyway, let's move on, shall we? This is from Glaucos. Hi, team. Hope you're all well. Apologies for the quick message. Things have been quite hectic here, despite my disappearance.
Try our lives.
Yeah. I haven't forgotten about you all, especially Captain Jeff. Thank you. Just saw this on the local news and thought it would be a nice one to share. If any of you are looking for a flying bargain, it might be an option. Chances are you need to fix a few bits and pieces before getting these planes back in the air, but if you're a keen mechanic or know of a good one, this can be an opportunity of a lifetime. And so he sent us a couple of pictures here of some of the items that are being auctioned off. He says, stay safe, clear skies, light winds, God bless. Cheers, Glaucus, the G-Man.
DHC-7.
Yeah.
A quad otter, is it?
Yes, basically.
And I think this one right here, the second one, is one of the most expensive ones, and it's an RJ. And
that looks quite good, Nick, apart from the appalling paint scheme.
You don't like the orange?
Price on this one.
It's a very orange CRJ 100.
Well, it would look good in Holland.
Whatever the Kenyan dollar is, 127,000.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're talking about here, in case because
in
Liz is telling me that I need to explain what we're talking about here. There's an auction of these airplanes that apparently are in is it Kenya? Kenya Airport Authority. Yeah. They auction off 70 junk and abandoned planes, and I guess that they have been abandoned and nobody wants them or has the money to do whatever is necessary to make these things airworthy again. And so they have 73 planes set to be sold. Well, actually, the auction is over. So if you see something here that kind of catches your eye, well, chances are it's too late.
Too late.
Yeah.
Yep. But let's see. There's a 707-300. 707. Wow. 300 starts at $2,497 US. Wow. That's pretty cheap.
Yes.
I guess the real cost is in transporting it to wherever you would like it to be located.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably just costs
Because I don't think
several
it flies.
million.
Pretty sure you
Yeah, it
can't
doesn't-
get it in the air.
Probably doesn't have any engines.
No.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was pretty interesting stuff.
And if you don't shift it very quickly, they're going to charge you $120 a day to park it there.
You have to collect your plane within 2 weeks if you are the winning bidder.
No.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. If you
That's-
haven't collected it within 2 weeks, it'll be forfeited after you paid them $120 for a day for the 2 weeks.
Wow.
$120, that's a lot of money. I can get airport parking for like $10 a day.
Yes. Yeah,
For
but
your
not for a
airplane, though?
707.
No, for my car.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, most of
Are
these
you?
airplanes are cheaper than a car.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow, Liz is telling me that she's paying $30 a day to park her car at Toronto Pearson International Airport
Oh,
for
my
her trip down
Lord.
to
That's crazy.
Atlanta.
Leave it at home
Wow.
and get a Uber.
Is that, and that's for like the economy, like,
Yeah, is that the economy lot? No, that's the valet parking, I think.
because I pay $22 or $24 a day at Charlotte, but that's for the hourly lot because I can't be bothered to take the bus from the daily lot or the economy lot for far less money.
Of course not.
That's our stuff.
That's our stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I don't leave myself enough time. I'd miss every
I know.
flight
It's just like
if I had to take the
wouldn't
bus.
it wouldn't work with your system, which is like I leave the house like 15 minutes before the departure time.
Yes.
Or
It
something
works. It always works.
Works.
Yeah, usually works.
Work.
Okay. Hey, you remember that feedback that we had from Ketty, who was questioning your credentials as a doctor and then started going off on the
rather cheekily questioning.
prescriptions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, she kind of thought, yeah, okay. She heard our criticism of her feedback, and so she sent us in some more feedback too. Actually, I'm going to play the second one because they're very similar feedbacks, and I think the second one actually does a better job of kind of answering what we said regarding her original feedback. So here we go.
Hey APG, this is Charlie Hotel. I did want to say I'm sorry if my initial feedback came back a little bit harsh about Dr. Steph. You're right, it is a pet peeve of mine. I don't know how in the world our doctors manage to screw up e-scribing. I mean, they use the best system just best system ever. The one that you mentioned in the past, one of your old episodes. We use Epic. Epic is the greatest. I don't know how in the world they managed to mess it up. We use O2 in Epic, so I have no idea. Anyways, it is definitely a pet peeve, as well as people going below the speed limit in the fast lane, and people not using blinkers. Kind of hurts my soul here.
Mine too.
But anyways, I just want to apologize if it came across a little harsh. I didn't intend it that way. That was just, me getting off work, tired, not thinking about anything. And yes, like I mentioned, I am a pilot. I'm a pilot. My dad's a pilot. My grandpa used to be a pilot. My older brother's a pilot. My little sister flies. She's a student. Pretty sure more will come. And then I've also taken on helicopters, so that's kind of fun. So wish me luck with that. And I wish you all the best, especially you, Dr. Steph. And good luck on your 500th. I'm really excited for it. I'd come if I could, but, work. Anyways, you all have a good one.
So I think, just based on her accent, I don't know if she originally told us where she's from or not, but sounds to me like somewhere in the South, based on her accent.
Yeah, perhaps. I heard that a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, she was demonstrating to us how to use a turn signal because I heard that very clearly.
Now, Charlie Hotel, were you in the left lane with your turn signal on the entire time?
Stopped. Probably not.
Sorry, we
Probably
could be a little harsh too sometimes, but it's all good natured. Goes back and forth.
Yeah, we love you, man. We love you, girl.
Yeah.
I was gonna say love you, man, but you're not
super
a man.
cool. I don't think I picked
clearly.
up on the first time that maybe I should know that from that other podcast, Opposing Bases, that you're a pilot also. So I probably should. But that's super cool. And good luck with the helicopters. You definitely, all the luck you can possibly get. Religious blessings as well.
You realise you start doing that, we'll measure your lifespan in weeks rather than years.
And you should probably look at that video that we showed of the Robinson doing the auto rotation practice. And
Watch out for rogue Cessnas.
Yeah.
They're out there.
Anyway, good to hear from you.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a reason why AJ now flies fixed wing.
AJ? No.
Or AG.
AG.
AG even.
No, wait. All right. Wait, I screwed up too. AG.
AG, yeah, there you go.
This is so confusing to me. Can you guys just please use your real names? I know your real names. I can't say.
Yeah, we could use your real names, but then they'd be upset with us.
We could invent names.
AG.
Yeah. Another god. No,
I was gonna say, yes, I agree with you on your epic assessment, and just as long as we're saying prayers for people, say a prayer for me because I have to use next gen, and that's a very specific thing, and we'll move on from there. But she'll know what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, because I had no idea.
I know.
Next gen, I know there's something to do with our national.
It has nothing to do with
system.
our national airspace system.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Liz is telling me 6 minutes before plane tail time, so I think we have time to do at least one more. And this one is from Mike. He says, Jeff, coincidence to hear on a recent episode you guys were talking about landing G-forces. I had a 220 the other day that landed overweight. No big deal on your classic Jurassic jet. Come on. The airplane I'm flying right now is not that old. Anyway, but Airbus Canada seems to like their reports. Thus, we got a high load landing report. This event wasn't a big deal since they had less than a degree of roll and less than a degree of yaw and 0.265 degrees per second of pitch rate. So not a lot of pitch rate either. The actual touchdown was at 0.625 feet per second and resulted in 1.508 G. Everything other than the landing weight was in the green. And I did do the calculation, and then I didn't write it down. 0.0625 times 60, and I don't think it was like anything extraordinary.
Just like a normal landing, it was just overweight when it touched down, is basically what he's saying.
Yeah. And 1.5. And I know that's only a half a G more than regular gravity, so it's not a super hard, even though it came out as a hard landing.
It was an overweight landing.
Overweight. Okay. Important to know that the new jets will tattle on you. Yeah, that's true. Have a great day, Mike Kuhn.
Well, we did an overweight landing. We had to keep it under 300 feet a minute rate of descent on touchdown, which it means a nice gentle touchdown, so you don't risk damaging the airframe. So, so it's not a sin landing overweight, for heaven's sake. It's just if you bang it in overweight, that's the only problem.
Yeah. You just got to know you're overweight and kind of be just extra.
I'm overweight.
Caution.
Are you overweight, Jeff?
Me too. I am. Yeah.
What's
sure.
that?
Steph's the only one here that's not overweight.
You're underweight.
Nope. Solidly in the normal category.
Good for you.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
Yeah, is that
all of us are saying, shut up, Steph. We're going to move on.
Yeah.
Just with my weight, that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah, nothing else normal about stuff.
No.
And I would argue, Albert, number 11, lightning strike. Hi, crew. I thought to share this pic of a lightning strike to one of our aircraft, Victor Hotel, Yankee, Quebec, Oscar, B737-800. No, B737-800. It's the starboard winglet. Let's see, the right one. I always look forward to your weekly take on events, etc. Oh, It's a right, isn't it?
Starboard because
Come on, Liz.
Because starboard has an R in it, so it's the right side.
Liz,
Don't ask
Liz
me
is
about the
messing
port
with me.
word. It's the
Trying
right
to
side.
mess me up, tripping me up.
Yes.
Okay, I always look forward to your weekly take on events, etc. Keep up the fantastic, that's all caps, work. Cheers, Albert. And then
You'd have thought hitting an F-35 would have made a bigger mess of that winglet.
So are you seeing that picture that is
Yes.
in that overlay?
That tiny little mark.
Good. I'm just trying to move my mouse like inches at a time here to try to manage this whole thing. So I can't switch to another window to see what you guys are looking at. Okay, great. Do we have time for Spencer, or is it time to shift over to the Plaintail? Plaintail time. Okay. Yeah, I wish that during the Plaintail I could just restart everything, but then you wouldn't be hearing the Plaintail, so I can't do that.
Well, I can't even play it from my end, can I?
You could. I think. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. I don't think your Mix Minus is set up to do that, from what I know. So I am going to go ahead and click on this button. Yeah, I need several more beers, I think. Although I think I'm out. This one I'm drinking right now is it.
What a tragedy.
Okay. It is. So, hey, it is now time for this week's installment of the Old Pilot's Plain Tales. And this one is entitled, very coincidentally, The 500th.
The Old Pilot's Plain Tales. The 500th. In Britain, as in many countries, the Coast Guard is a civilian organisation, primarily responsible for search and rescue. In other countries, it's more of a police force, but in the United States, the Coast Guard is a fully paid-up branch of the military. Its men and women have served with valour in many conflicts, and I'm going to tell you about one such event, the rescue of Misty 11. Being a Misty pilot was a dangerous job, and the Misty FAC, a Forward Air Controller program, would only take volunteers. Between the summers of 1967 and 1970, 155 pilots would be accepted, and of them, 34 would be shot down. They had to fly in a very dense threat environment, whilst operating for long periods at low altitudes searching for targets. They were men of quality, as one would receive the Medal of Honor, one would be the first to fly non-stop, unrefueled around the world, two would become the United States Air Force's Chief of Staff, and two would become astronauts. Two of them were also going to be on the receiving end of a momentous rescue during the Vietnam War by the United States Air Force Aerospace Rescue and Recovery Service, and by crews, some of whom weren't even members of the Air Force. They were U.S. Coast Guards. Misty 11 was an F-100 Super Sabre and a fast FAC, designating targets in the early morning sun along the Ho Chi Minh Trail for ground attack aircraft to destroy. The Misty call sign came from a Johnny Mathis song of that name, with the line, "Don't you notice how hopelessly I'm lost? That's why I'm following you." On this morning, October the 24th, 1969, the two-seat Sabre that was the Fast FAC's aircraft of choice was crewed by Captain Jack Clapper in the front and First Lieutenant Don Muller behind him. They were scooting along in the target area, doing their usual Misty weave, a 4 to 6G slalom run at over 450 knots, designed to make them a hard target, when somebody below got lucky. Ground fire took out their Pratt & Whitney J57 engine. The F-100 was no glider, and they soon found themselves dropping below 1,000 feet, so, having put out a mayday call, they ejected, parachuting down into the dense jungle-covered mountainous Laotian terrain. They landed about half a mile around a kilometre apart in a small valley which ran north-south. They both did their best to hide their positions and then made contact using their survival radios, talking to another FAC pilot in an OV-10 Bronco nearby. Clapper was fine, but Muller had a badly broken leg, and what's more, he could hear people moving around him. The Bronco pilot told them to hang on, and that he would be contacting search and rescue. During the Vietnam conflict, the goal of the Combat Rescue and Recovery units was to get to those in peril before the enemy did. Whether the mission was an extraction or the pickup of a downed airman, each time they were successful it was a win, a save. But a save was much more than a statistic to these men. A save was a person, and they took it personally. There were 11 Coast Guard aviators that flew with these rescue forces in Vietnam between 1968 and 1972. They were all volunteers. They were all highly praised, and what's more, the 37th Aerospace Rescue and Recovery Squadron was coming up to their 500th save. It only took a couple of hours before a rescue team of 2 HH-3E Jolly Green Giants, escorted by a couple of A-1 Sky Raiders, arrived over the crash area and took up an orbit out of harm's way. One would remain as a backup high bird orbiting overhead, whilst the other low bird would go in and make the rescue. The Spads repeatedly ran up and down the area looking for a response from the enemy, but all seemed quiet, so Captain Charles Langham, of the United States Air Force, descended his helicopter in for the recovery. Above them all was a Hercules C-130 coordinating the rescue, and knowing that Don Muller was badly injured, they chose to pick him up first. As the big helicopter approached, there was still no sign of enemy activity, so they came to a hover over his position, and Para-Jumper Tech Sergeant Don Smith went down on the wire. There was no time to mess about, and despite his injuries, Smith had Muller on the Jungle Penetrator, a tough metal folding seat that could pass through the jungle canopy without getting caught up, and signalled to winch them both up. Less than a minute had elapsed. Suddenly, on 3 sides of them, the twinkling of automatic fire lit up the jungle, and bullets began whining past their heads. They had flown into a flak trap. The entire area had turned into a mass of heavy small arms and automatic weapons fire as close as 50 feet, that's 15 meters away. Langham, flying the helicopter, began to receive hits, and although the Spads rushed in to suppress the ground fire, it was so close to the rescuers that they couldn't use big weapons for fear of killing the downed pilots. Then the Jolly Green's hoist that held the dangling wire and its precious cargo was hit, breaking it off its mounts and smashing it into the flight engineer's chest, whilst dumping Muller and Smith back on the ground. The hoist was now completely useless, so the cable was guillotined, shearing it off, and they tried to get out of there. The big helicopter dipped its nose and started to accelerate forwards, but they were streaming smoke and oil from the main gearbox. They were going down. Above him, in the high bird, Lieutenant Richard Butchka of the United States Coast Guard punched off his auxiliary fuel tanks and plunged into a descent to follow the injured bird. He told Langham to put it down, and before long he had found a clear spot in a small bowl-shaped valley, and Langham landed the helicopter safely into a mass of elephant grass. The crew abandoned it and ran, looking up for help from the high bird, but it was already there, on the left side in a hover, with its hoist cable dangling down, ready for them. The hovering helicopter was an easy target, so Butchka was fully expecting enemy fire, and he didn't have to wait long. His machine shuddered with a jolt on the right side as a big gash appeared in the aircraft's skin. As they hauled the crew of the downed helicopter up, the counts of rescues rose until, when the co-pilot, Major Charles Bond, came on board, they had reached the magic number of 500 saves. Little did they expect that it would be one of their own pilots. With the men safely on board, the next problem was getting out of there. Butchka didn't want to go back the way he came in because of the heavy enemy fire. Complicating the matter, it was hot and humid, the pressure altitude was high, and the only other way out presented him with a vertical cliff rising about 130 feet above him. It was decision time. Butchka headed for the cliff face, pulled every bit of power he could, heaving the collective up into his armpit. With the airspeed dropping and the rotor slowing, he smashed through the tops of the trees as they struggled over. But they weren't out of trouble yet. As they came over the ridge line, the Jolly immediately came under more heavy ground fire. The Spads hadn't reported anything because they didn't know where Butchka had got to, but miraculously they weren't hit. However, the Jolly had caught its blades in the trees and needed an escort out of there. Damaged, they diverted to a landing site for repairs. Back at the rescue point, the downed Misty crew and Langham's PJ had reported contact with the enemy only 35 metres, about 100 feet west of them, and he called in airstrikes. The Spads came down, bracketing their position to keep the Viet Cong at bay. That day, 3 more recovery attempts were made, but each time intense ground fire resulting in severe damage forced the helicopters to withdraw, one with its hydraulics shot away and a badly damaged tail rotor. Later that afternoon, the Jolly Green Giants had another go, this time with Coast Guard Lieutenant Rob Ritchie at the controls, a USAF pilot at his side, his engineer and 2 PJs in the back. After multiple passes by the A-1s dropping chemical cluster bomb units, with each dispenser delivering 528 CS gas canisters, they came in. All the previous attempts that day had been made into wind, so Ritchie chose an unexpected downwind approach. He reckoned that the bad guys would be set up for them to come into the wind and would be waiting. The Spads made more suppression runs and laid smoke, and then they joined in a daisy chain of passes that provided protective fire. Ritchie used the smoke for cover, descended fast, and quickly put his aircraft into a hover over Smith, the PJ, and Muller. As Tech Sergeant Gaidos wound down the rescue hoist, he was completely exposed to incoming hostile fire impacting all about him in the doorway. Unconcerned, he kept up his usual reassuring and calm hover instructions to the pilots until both men had been brought up and swung aboard. With surprisingly little damage to the aircraft, Ritchie repositioned to make a second approach and rescue Clapper, but this time they began taking very heavy ground fire on the way in. They had lost the element of surprise, and the North Vietnamese had repositioned. The Spad leader called the approach off so that both A-1s could make further suppression runs. Now on his third attempt, Ritchie immediately started his run-in. The Spads had done their work, and this time it was much quieter, but as the penetrator descended through the jungle canopy, the fire became more and more intense, with the Jolly taking multiple hits. A utility hydraulic line that powered the hoist was severed, and it stopped moving. The frustration was palpable. They had been so close, but they had to pull away and leave Clapper in the jungle, surrounded by the enemy. Later that afternoon, 2 further attempts were made, but each was beaten off by the Viet Cong. And then a huge tropical thunderstorm moved in, pounding the area with heavy rain for 30 minutes. As the squalls started to move away and the storm subsided, they had their chance. The winds that had just been whipping up the valley calmed, and the smoke screen that they laid began to envelop the area. This was a double-edged sword, as it hid the helicopter's approach, but also made it difficult and dangerous to find Clapper. Fortunately, Jack Clapper hadn't been asleep during his combat survival lectures, and he was well aware of how to guide the helicopter pilot in. Coordinating with the Spads overhead and the High Bird, they positioned themselves right over the downed man and dropped the penetrator down into the jungle. Clapper clambered onto the device, and the winch operator lifted him up and away from danger. Soon he reached the open door and safety as the door gunner pulled him in. With a grin of relief, after 10 hours of tension amongst the enemy forces, Clapper gratefully fell into a seat. For this 500th combat rescue, many well-deserved medals were awarded. These are just a few. Lieutenant Robert T. Ritchie, United States Coast Guard, was awarded the Silver Star for gallantry in connection with military operations against an opposing armed force whilst attached to the 37th Aerospace Rescue and Recovery Squadron. Lieutenant Ritchie distinguished himself as an aircraft commander of an HH-3E rescue helicopter on the 24th of October 1969. On that date, he repeatedly penetrated an area of intense hostile fire in an effort to rescue 3 downed airmen before battle damage rendered his aircraft incapable of further rescue operations. By his gallantry and devotion to duty, Lieutenant Junior Grade Ritchie has reflected great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Captain Charles D. Langham was awarded the Silver Star when he distinguished himself by gallantry as the aircraft commander of an HH-3E helicopter. While attempting to recover 2 downed Air Force pilots, Captain Langham's aircraft was subjected to intense hostile fire. Displaying superb airmanship, he nursed his critically damaged aircraft away from the hostile area and effected an emergency landing in a confined remote area, which saved his crew from probable serious injury or possible death. By his gallantry and devotion to duty, Captain Langham has reflected great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. The Air Force Cross was presented to Technical Sergeant Donald G. Smith for extraordinary heroism against an opposing armed force as a pararescueman on an HH-3E rescue helicopter. Sergeant Smith voluntarily descended to the surface on a forest penetrator to assist a downed pilot. As he and the pilot were being raised, hostile fire rendered the hoist inoperative, and the cable was sheared, dropping them 15 feet to the ground. Sergeant Smith's position was surrounded by hostile forces, and his helicopter was downed by hostile fire. Remaining exceptionally calm, his resolute and decisive presence encouraged other survivors, whilst his resourcefulness in controlling and directing the aircraft providing suppressive fire resulted in the safe recovery of all downed personnel. Through his extraordinary heroism, superb airmanship and aggressiveness in the face of the enemy, Sergeant Smith reflected the highest credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Of the roughly 200 Air Force Cross recipients, only 24 are enlisted rank, of which 12 are para-rescue men. 9 PJs were awarded Air Force Crosses for combat search and rescue missions in Vietnam. Of those 9 missions, 2 had Coast Guard aviators as aircraft commanders. 4 of those gentlemen were awarded Silver Stars, the only 4 Silver Stars to have ever been awarded to Coast Guard aviators. General Howard Estes made the following statement about them. I'm personally aware of the distinguished record achieved by the Coast Guard pilots flying in combat with our Jolly Greens. They have flown many difficult and challenging missions and have consistently demonstrated their unreserved adherence to both our mottos: always ready and that others may live.
Coast Guard. Awesome. And those PJs are really special.
They're
people.
something else, aren't they? I mean, it's quite unusual for us to consider a Coast Guard. They obviously do amazing rescue work, but actually going into to fight a war, that's something unusual for us to think about. And you may not feel this way, but I hear a lot about the three services in the United States. I don't hear a lot about the Coast Guards. And when I found this story, I thought, this is lovely. Perhaps it gives me a chance to blow their trumpet a little bit, because there seem to be, I'm sure you agree, a fine fighting force.
They are.
Absolutely. Good.
It's nice to know more about them, because I agree with you, even living here, you don't hear about them very much other than the search and rescue stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. And in peacetime, of course, they're still out doing their primary duty.
Oh, sure.
They're out there in incredible distances in hostile seas, picking up, albeit civilian, usually civilian maritime people. They're doing rescues out there in appalling weather, doing remarkable things with their aircraft. I just think it's brilliant. So, more power to their elbow, guys. Well done.
Truly unsung heroes.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Well, it was a good choice then. I was going to do that for the 500th show, but I thought of something else for that. Something a bit more light-hearted, perhaps.
Excellent. Look forward to that.
Lighthearted sounds good.
Semper Lazarus.
Well, that's in contrast to Semper... my Latin's terrible.
Paratus.
Paratus?
Well, that's
always
how I
ready.
play it.
And so I'm guessing this is kind of the opposite.
Oh, I said Semper Lazarus would be something, the dead.
Dead.
Lazarus was raised from the dead.
Yeah. I think Lazarus was also one of the ones that ended up going to hell, and then he kind of said, hey, do over? Can I do this over? Can I warn people that they should live good lives? Because this is really hell.
I'm living in hell right now, so that's a very good.
Well, if you're watching the show or listening to the show right now, you're in your own little hell, I think. Yeah,
exactly right. Yeah, lovely.
We're not sorry.
Brilliant.
What the hell? Let's lots of time, Liz is telling me. Okay, okay, that's good. A shorter show is good. That gives us more time to prepare for the big 500. All right, let's continue on with number 12 from Spencer. He says, hey, APG crew, it's Spencer from Utah. A quick update on my training. This past week, I passed my instrument check ride. Yay!
Woo-hoo! Well done.
Nice
well
going.
Done. Yeah, it's a tough flight.
During the last few weeks of my training, I had an unforgettable incident involving a really big bird. No, I don't think he's talking about the Sesame Street. No.
It's a long neck.
My instructor, along what?
A long neck.
Neck? Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I misunderstood.
Yes, that was difficult to understand.
My instructor and I were on a cross-country flight and almost back to our home airport. It's an uncontrolled field underneath a Bravo shelf. I was wearing a view-limiting device. I heard my instructor say, birds, and I looked up, and I saw a huge flock of cranes, and I saw one of them dive straight down and hit the top of a wing.
You should have read your NOTAMs.
I know.
Well, this involves birds that are cranes. That's like an extra NOTAM right there.
That's a double NOTAM. Yeah.
But was it a 200-foot crane? I doubt it.
It might have been.
There was clearly visible damage. A pretty decent dent in the wing of our DA-40 Luckily, we were able to make a safe landing. It sure felt like a Sully moment there for a second.
It's a Diamond.
It's a Diamond DA-40.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
It's made. I think it's
Single-engine
designed. I don't know if it's made in Austria. I'm pretty sure. It's probably not made in Austria, but I think it's an Austrian airplane, right? Please, somebody help me.
I've flown them, and I should know.
Okay. Anyway, they look like gliders, basically. I mean, they have super long, thin height.
Yes, they're actually very fun to fly. They've got a center stick. Yeah, and they've got a lot of visibility, kind of a little bubble canopy type cockpit configuration. The DA-40 is the larger of the single-engine aircraft that they make. They have a DA-20, which is a two-seater.
And the DA-42, I think, is the twin.
Is
right?
the twin? Yeah, that's like twin star, twin star, twin. Something like that.
I don't know what that's called.
Yeah.
Anyway, he says, luckily we were able to make a safe landing. It sure felt like a Sully moment there for a second. I do feel bad for the bird, though. It definitely did not survive. After this incident, it was making me think about what can we do as pilots to minimize the risk of bird strikes. I know. Don't fly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Do your airlines have any procedures related to bird strikes? And have any of you had any experience with bird strikes that have caused damage to an aircraft? Spencer, I have had bird strikes, but I've never had any significant damage from any of the bird strikes that I've encountered myself. How about you?
Yeah, on
Nick?
about my, I think actually on my very first trip in a 340, we took a bird down an engine and had to shut it down. So yeah, and I've hit dozens of birds in the flying career, but very little damage. Although there have been some horrendous ones with birds actually penetrating canopies and blinding a pilot. Taking out major flight controls engines. So they can be very nasty.
So
Liz was asking if if you hit a turkey, is it okay for you to take that home and cook it for Thanksgiving?
Sure. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it's only reasonable to, not let it go to waste.
Yep, the meat will be very tender. That's for sure.
Kind of ground.
Ground turkey.
Yeah.
Very lean.
I'm sorry.
We clobbered a what we assumed was something like an eagle, a kite, one of those big birds of prey, on the approach to Hong Kong, and it whacked us in the radome, and I thought there might be quite a bit of damage, and because the noise was horrendous. It really was. It was like it was trying to come in through the front door, and we landed, and when we looked to the radome, it looked superficially fine, covered in blood, but in fact what had happened was it had pushed the radome in, and then the radome had flexed and popped back out again. So you can see all the witness marks of this huge impact and where the radome had flexed. And of course, there's a chance that it had damaged the radar. We never found out about that because we went off to the hotel and had lots of beer. The radome had fared fairly well, considering.
Yeah. I say, knock on
Diamond
wood,
aircraft.
thankfully. Oh.
Go ahead. I think our
knock on
latency
wood,
is off.
Yeah, sorry. Knock on wood, thankfully, I have not hit a bird with an airplane. I did do a pre-flight walk around once on it was an Aero, Piper Aero, where clearly the preceding flight had hit a bird probably on short final, sometime after the gear was down, because it was on the gear door. I went out and I thought, yeah, there's some bird guts here that should be looked at. That one didn't turn out to be too big of a deal. But the airport where I regularly fly on the weekends, there are always a large number of fairly large birds circling around the departure end of 2-3 and the approach end of runway 5, which just happens to be the runway that we typically use. So we're always on the lookout for them. But yes, they usually, a lot of times they have a tendency to kind of dive down when they realize that there's an aircraft nearby. So have to be aware of that.
Spencer does ask what we can do to minimize the risk. The answer is when you're in their territory, like 5,000 and below. I mean, don't get me wrong, Hooper swans fly up to 25,000 feet, so you can cop a bird almost anywhere. Make sure your speed is as low as practical if you're in an area of risk, because obviously the kinetic energy of a bird strike is very much dependent on your forward speed, not theirs. Keep all your lights on, because birds will try and get out of the way if they see you coming. Just keep good lookout, because if you can spot them, you can maneuver out of the way if you're lucky. They don't always do what you expect them to do, but just do your best.
And some will say that like keeping the radar on will somehow help with dispersing birds, but I think that's been debunked, that theory.
Yeah, I think waving out of the window, that helps, yeah.
That helps, yeah. And like making bird screaming sounds.
Go away!
No bird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Liz is saying if you play APG really loud on your speakers, sometimes that scares them.
You got the PA.
I was right. Diamond Aircraft is headquartered in Austria. They have facilities in Canada and China, and is amongst the leading aircraft manufacturer in general aviation. Is amongst the leading aircraft manufacturer, not the leading aircraft manufacturer.
They're fun little airplanes to fly. I've enjoyed.
I've never been
flying
in
them
one
on occasion.
actually.
But they have a great glide ratio. So.
Yeah, as I said.
The other thing I was going to say
gliders.
was stay up when crossing the coast, because obviously coastal areas are worse for birds. So if you can stay above them when you're crossing a coast, that will be good.
Yeah, if you're taking off out of LaGuardia, stay away from the Hudson River, and keep your eyes
you're
out.
Ditch, in which case,
that's fine.
I think they hit those things at like 2,800, 3,000 feet, something like that. So
yeah.
Big birds, not the one from Sesame Street though. All right, this number 13 from Bob. He says, "Name that runway." So, Liz, can you throw up the overlay there? He says, "Hi guys, can anyone guess this one? Great for a dead stick landing." Well,
where?
It's there. It's like right where?
Are we going to show the? So it's on a not really like a peninsula-looking piece of land. A little bit of a.
Well,
do you want me to find it first?
Point.
It should be right in a row with all the other feedbacks. Oh, did I forget to put it in there? Son of a gun. Okay, let me see. Maybe I forgot. No, I'm not testing you. I'm being testy. Let me see. I'll share that.
Interestingly, there's a bunch of connections to this sort of airfield assembly by narrow tracks.
They look like launch pads.
Bunkers or something along the coast. So I have no idea what those are. They don't look big enough to be taxiways.
No, they are launch pads.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of narrows it down significantly. Where is that? Okay.
Canaveral?
It's very close by Canaveral, I think, in that same area. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find a way to share. I'll just go ahead and share this note. And here we go. And over here, share, screen, window, and feedback from Bob. Share. Okay. Oh. All right, there we go. Can you see that? Oh, no.
Add it to the stream.
I can see it now.
We can
Thank
now.
you. There we go. Thank you,
welcome.
Nick. Yeah, there is a checkbox in there in the settings that it used to behave a different way. Now you have to actually activate it, which I like. It's just I have to remember to do that. Okay, so there you go. There is the overhead view of the runway that he's saying. Name that runway, and as Nick mentioned, you can see the little areas radiating out from where the runway is, and they look kind of I don't know, interesting. And our own Miami Rick answered. And come on, where is it? I'm sorry.
You want me to read it? I can read it for you.
No,
His
go ahead.
response
Because
is-
I just having trouble
Your mouse is
manipulating the. I have a wired mouse now. This is helping, but it's not perfect.
Let me read.
Okay.
Miami Rick did give a response to this. He says,
Okay.
So the question was, hi guys, can anyone guess this one? Great for a dead stick landing. So we're looking at this runway, and like you mentioned, some launch pad looking things off to the side here. It's on this point, which maybe you could describe as a cape, perhaps?
Yeah, probably.
So his response is, I don't know. But I know
like
a great
bosom
German
to
restaurant.
me.
I know a great German restaurant about 5 miles south from there. Also, there's a better runway directly across the Indian River Lagoon, where a space shuttle or two may have landed. Kaya called it first.
Oh,
Yes.
good one.
Kaya, his significant other, said, "Yeah, I know what that is. I recognize that."
So she
Yeah,
does work in
so
the
it's-
space industry. Yes.
She does. Blue Origin.
So this is
Yep.
Cape Canaveral.
Canaveral. Yep. But it's not the
And-
shuttle recovery runway. That's another runway.
So the one across the lagoon is Space Florida
Yes.
Launch and Landing Facility.
Right. So the really, really super long one where the shuttles land is not this one that we're looking at. This is a different one. And then just south of here is Patrick Air Force Base, another facility with a reasonably long runway, but not as long as this one.
Let's
All
see.
right.
Do you know how long
Yeah, that's
the
Patrick Air Force
Space Shuttle Landing Facility is? The one that's directly across the lagoon from the picture we're looking at? Do you know how long it is? The runway?
17,000.
Oh, it's like, yeah,
Not
something
quite that long.
super long.
15,001 foot.
Oh, yeah, don't forget that one
extra
foot.
Extra
one
foot is very
That's just to
important.
stop the nose wheel
That's
from
what they say.
dropping off into the sand.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Bob, if that's your real name, for that
Bob
question.
Lufkin.
And yes, you do have lots of overlays, but I'm going to play a video first. Yeah. Okay. So number 14, this is sent in from Rob. And, quote, meanwhile, in Antarctica, Highfly has landed for the first time ever an Airbus A340 in Antarctica. Captain Carlos Mapuri and his crew flew the A340-300, 9 Hotel Sierra Oscar Lima, from Cape Town to the White Continent and back. The journey is 2,500 nautical miles, flying for just over 5 hours each way. So let me share the video with you all, and we can watch a little bit. I'm going to play the beginning of it, and then I'm going to skip down toward the end of it for the approach and landing in Antarctica with this A340. So here we go. Open, and let's see if I can find it. It must be this one. Add to stream. Here we go. All right, we have music and a wall. People walking through a door. Cape Town, 2nd November 2021. Cape Town, South Africa. There's an A340.
9 Hotel Sierra Oscar Lima is an A340-313, high gross weight 340. And it's 6:30 in the morning, and our destination will be Blue Ice runway in Antarctica, the Volkswagen. The distance is around 2,500 nautical miles, and the flight time on the way down around 5 hours and 5 minutes. It is, of course, a very important moment. It's the first time an A340 is landing in Antarctica. I'll have the pleasure to do this landing myself.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your commander speaking. My name is Carlos Mirpuri. I'm very proud to be in charge of this flight, the very first flight of an A340 to Antarctica. We expect to depart from runway 01. The conditions en route are fantastic, and I do hope you enjoy the flight with us.
Thank you, Whiskey 23, right, moon right, clear 1, runway 01, standing in for takeoff.
She sounds very English.
Yeah.
Click, click.
Probably a remote tower from England.
Piped in from Heathrow.
Those CFM 56s have a real grind about them. Hey, they got airborne nice and quick, didn't they?
I guess. I don't know. Okay, so they're climbing out. You can see the South African coastline and some of the
operating to a blue ice runway as we are going
tabletop
to
mounted.
Today requires a whole different way to approach this mission. One of the most important parts for sure is to make sure that we plan with regards to the highest safety concerns.
Okay, so yeah, it's the vice president of the airline that is flying as commander. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward here as they are making their approach and landing into Antarctica. Here we go. Start right
to Wolfsfang.
Wait, hang on.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your commander again. Just about to start our descent to Wolfsfang.
Oh, he's got his woolly pulley on, his cardigan, because it's going to be cold.
You think?
300 feet.
God, you really need those call-outs.
250.
Now, I'm going to pause this for a moment. That automated call-out system said 110.
It did?
That's weird.
Yeah.
I listened to it several times. Here,
Say it
let me
again?
back it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll do that.
Okay, but why 110?
Well, it will do a normal cadence, but if there's a slight pause in your descent, so you flatten the descent a little bit, it won't wait to the next big number. It'll tell you your current height. So it's smarter than the average sort of standard.
See, I've never heard that before. Okay.
Yeah.
110. 250. 70. 60. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 10. 5.
Ah, that's a nice job. That was sweet. Look at those beautiful wings. I wonder how hard it is
crashes into
to
a
stop.
big fireball. Huh?
Yes, I was going to say.
Well, it looks like they've got sufficient
Hits a mountain.
distance there for
10
slowing
miles
down.
later.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a glacier.
Welcome to
so it's-
Wolfsfang. We have just landed on runway 175. And
Runway
we are now
175?
approaching our
175?
parking
I've never
position.
landed on a
1.7 or
175.
1.8?
And, I would like to thank you very much for being part of this memorable event.
1.735?
And
Yeah,
look
very
forward to
good.
see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Probably 175 degrees, the heading of it. All right, so they're congratulating each other and all that kind of stuff. But I thought it was kind of interesting toward the end here. They talk a little bit about how the difference or the things that were kind of challenging and different about this whole
A
thing.
whole different way to approach this mission. First, there is no ground support equipment down there. That means there is no air start or a ground power unit. The 340 is capable to perform this mission with enough fuel to go down and up back to Cape Town. And there's all sorts of concerns that surround a mission like this because there is no approach navigation aids or visual aids to support the approach. So it's basically landing on an air club with a very long runway built on blue glacial ice. And the markings that we have are that will mark the edges of the runway, the threshold, the touchdown zone, the beginning and the end.
All right. And we have...
Not only you have to ensure that your dispatch deviations are different from the standard flight. That means you cannot tolerate certain things with the airplane, or its braking capability or deceleration means, and also that when you approach an airfield, which is basically a visual airfield like it is in Antarctica, you need to ensure that the weather is good so that you can operate safely. We only launch this operation when the weather is perfectly fine for what we need to do down there.
All right. So very nice video. That was most of it that we played, but if you want to watch the entire video, you'll find that in the show notes. And we have some overlays that we can show and talk a little bit more. I think that, Nick, you'll probably want to... Yeah, I'm trying to. While I'm talking at the same time, I'm trying to do that. Here we go. Okay. So, Nick, if you want to say something about this, since this was kind of your baby, this 340?
Oh, most certainly, yeah. I mean, it looks remarkable just sitting out there in the middle of a vast white snowfield, a few mountains around, and now the cardigan has been replaced by a proper snow jacket as the crew hailed this lovely sign. I noticed they've graded the ice for the runway.
They took a snowcat.
It's grooved.
It's
Yeah,
groomed.
it's grooved.
In skiing, that's just groomed. You know, you groom the.
Oh, right.
the
Okay.
run. It looks exactly
the runway
the same.
speak that looks like a grooved runway. Usually it's concrete.
And
though.
there's Captain Highfly. This is a 300, so you know it's got it's the slightly smaller version. Only 2 center wheels and the CFM 56 engines as opposed to the Rolls-Royce Trents that the Dash 600 had. But basically, it's quite a simple flight, I guess. The hardest thing is the landing because, as he mentioned, you know, you just head straight south from Cape Town, and you know, it's a 1,250 miles or wherever. It would be half of 2,500. But it must be really hard judging an approach in whiteout because there's there's Father Christmas. Look.
Well, no, that we were going to say that
Curmudgeon.
for what Nick thinks about this whole thing, and he's wearing a Bah Humbug cap.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
not impressed.
Always so
Yes.
cheerful and joyful and optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It must be lovely on a good day like that. But if you just need a little bit of wind to pick up the snow and start obscuring the difference between the ground and the sky, and you really have very little perspective to work from. He talks about whiteout, but it is a really big problem when you're flying in this kind of terrain or over any snow covered terrain, when the color of the sky and the ground just meld and you lose all visual indication of your visual attitude. You have to have a really good mix of visual and instrument scan so that you're checking your the head-up display is perfect in these kind of conditions. Sadly, the 340 was an optional extra. We didn't have them. But that would be perfect because there are no. I noticed they got lights for the beginning of the runway and flags, but they've no visual papes or vases, no visual glide slope indicators.
I'm not really sure how you would
that
set those up
runway.
on the snow.
They do have portable boxes.
Mhm.
You can take out, and you just have a sort of a spirit level and line them up. But they obviously didn't go that far. But no, it can be really quite dangerous if you're trying to make an approach. You need really experienced pair of hands, and obviously that guy's just the sort of pilot you'd want doing that kind of a mission.
Yeah, I mean, he was saying at the end there they really only do it on days when the conditions are pretty close to ideal and perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have to have somebody that has a lot of experience flying aircraft and with gray or silver hair. I think that's the optimum pilot.
So what
for
you're
this
saying
kind
is
of,
not
mission.
me, mostly because I don't have any.
Well, I mean, you could be
Gray
the first officer, but not the captain.
I'm just not meeting the gray hair condition. That's all.
No, not
That's
yet.
all right. You put a bit of flour in your hair, you'd look good.
I don't know. Every once in a while, I find one, and then I go.
Pluck it out. Two will grow back in its place. No, that's not
true.
I know.
No, actually, I don't pluck them out. I just can't be bothered. I don't care.
Yeah. What?
But
that doesn't
a
sound
lovely,
like you.
a lovely documented flight. The video was super quality.
Very pretty.
Yeah.
It looks stunning. Looks absolutely. And the aircraft is pure white. They haven't put any markings on it. In a white aircraft on white snow, you can barely see it. It looks fantastic.
Yeah. Very cool.
On my list of places to go. Antarctica.
Oh, really? Wow.
Thanks for sending that in, Rob.
Looks like they have plenty of room on board.
Yeah. All right. Let's continue with the last item in our feedback segment. This is from Frank. He has a question for us regarding wildfire smoke. He says, earlier this year, when the wildfires were raging so badly in the western part of the U.S., it made me wonder if the smoke from such extensive fires affect airplane engines. I realize it's not the same kind of contamination as volcanic ash, but can that much smoke impact your engine's performance, since solids are replacing all the good stuff in a normal volume of air? Thanks for a continuously entertaining show. Frank Strahan. Anybody venture on?
Interesting.
So I won't venture into what it does to jet engines necessarily, but wildfire smoke certainly can affect single engine or piston engines. And
how does it do that, Steph?
So assuming it just has to do with the.
Do?
So I don't know all the. I will just say that I do know some folks who found themselves flying through some relatively dense smoke related to wildfires, and that was determined to be the cause of their engine failure in their single-engine piston aircraft.
Well, there's obviously going to be lower density of oxygen, perhaps.
I would think it would have to do with the oxygen availability for actually, producing the.
I mean, obviously, it can't be too serious because otherwise all those aircraft, helicopters and things that fight fires from the air, they're in amongst it, right in amongst it, and they seem to manage. I mean, I've flown through it at altitude and on an approach, and all it does is smell bad in the cockpit and in the aircraft.
I think the biggest problem with smoke is the visibility, limitations to visibility, and that's really the biggest threat.
I mean, volcanic ash, of course, has that component which is which can melt onto the blades. It's the mineral in the dust that can turn into glass on the blades and wreck your engines, as well as the abrasion it causes on the airframe, the windshields, and the blades themselves affect the aerodynamic qualities of the blades in your engine, and it can be a serious problem. Ash doesn't have that same sandpaper quality, that same abrasive quality. So I don't think you're going to be worried about that, or you're really going to be, just as Steph mentioned, you're going to be worried about if it can starve your engine of enough oxygen, enough air to stop the combustion process happening inside your engine, because it's already been,
and I think that was already. I always suspect that was the actual reason for it. I can't think of another good reason why that would happen, but
there you go. And I don't think, it probably has more of an effect on a piston reciprocating type of engine than it does in a jet engine.
Right.
Yeah.
I would think
so. I mean, do you get air filters, fine air filters in a aircraft piston engine? I'm
fine air filters?
Yeah, like your car. Would you have an air filter like your car?
It's a good question for someone who's a mechanic.
I'm just wondering if the ash could block the air filter into the aircraft.
I mean, I guess if there's enough of it, sure.
Into the engine. Yeah. So I mean, it wouldn't be wise to fly through it, but it's not nearly as dangerous as volcanic ash. I think it's probably fair to say.
Yeah. Might also block heat exchangers, sensors, cooling canals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's our expert opinion on this. But I would Google it to find out for sure. I think it is time for us to wrap this thing up and finish up with the 400 series of APG episodes that we started back on November 19th of 2019. And why don't we do this? Next week, let's start the 500 series of the show.
I think we could do that.
Second half of the millennium.
Yeah. So let's talk about how folks can learn more about this wonderful community that has been built up around this show called the APG community. And you can find information about that on our website, airlinepilotguy.com. Also about the crew and we have an APG calendar. We have the APG library, if you know how to read. Tiffany takes care of that for us.
That's not most of our. That's why they're listening.
Many of the people listening are pilots, so that's why I said that.
That's true.
Let's see what else we have. More information about we have a Plain Tales page. More pictures and information about more in-depth information about the Plain Tales that Nick does every week for us. We have merchandise and we have coffee fund information. So much more. So check it out. AirlinePilotGuy.com. And we're also on the social meds, and Steph is going to tell us about that.
I am. Liz already has it up there on the screen, but if you are on Facebook, you can find us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/airlinepilotguy. Lots of our community members there, all sharing various aviation ideas, stories, and news items. If you prefer fewer characters in your social media diet, that would be Twitter on your mobile device, and we are at APG Crew, and you can find our individual Twitter handles pinned to the top of the page. And hey, check out our Instagram. Sometimes I put stuff there, and sometimes I share Nick's show artwork when I think about it and get around to it. We're also APG Crew on Instagram. But if you really, really want to get into the weeds and be a part of this big community, I suggest Slack. And I think
and speaking of characters, Hillel is quite a character, and let's see if he's here in the cabin with me. Hey, Hillel, do you have time for Slack? All right, he's going to come over here, and he's going to tell us all about Slack.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas, we suggest episode and Plain Tales topics, we plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com, or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
All right, thank you, Hillel, for that. Check it out. And
no, wait, Jeff.
What?
I'm social distancing.
Well, okay.
It's odd that he's in your cabin with you, but is that how he's social distancing from other people? I'm confused.
I am I'm always confused when it comes to Hillel. So anyway, thank you, Hillel. Go back to the bathroom and do whatever.
Jeff,
what?
Would you loofah my back?
No.
Again?
Gosh.
That implies that it's
don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. All right. And we also want to throw out a big thank you for our producer director, my assistant in Toronto, Canada, Liz Piper.
Tough job tonight.
Yay, Liz.
Yep. It's always a tough job dealing with us. And she'll be with us. I can't wait to see you in person, Liz, next week.
Yeah, week's time.
All right.
Yeah.
In Atlanta. All right. And with that,
I'll be
we
there.
are going to sign off. All right.
Yay.
Wishing you all clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Take care, and God bless.
Cheers,
Bye,
y'all.
everybody.
Have a good week.
She's becoming less
Shy?
Shy.
Reticent?
Yeah. Although we don't see her video.
Reticent.
No.
She turned off her video.
Nobody wants to see me. I don't want
Yeah,
to
we
see
do.
It's not true.
I don't want to see me.
No one wants to see the rest of us either, but we make it.
Oh yeah, if you're coming to Atlanta, you're not going to be able to see her.
I
She's
got a
going to
big
be
brown
in a
paper
separate
bag.
room.
I'll be wearing it.
She's like Wilson in Home Improvement. She'll just be like behind the fence the whole time.
But the best part of today is we don't have to say, okay, what day is everybody free next week? When can we do a show?
Good point. Yes, well done. We need
That's
a
true.
show title, though.
Well, I've only got two possibles. Sorry. I've got cranes in the area. I don't know if you can do anything with that. Or barbecued bird guts.
God.
Well, that's not good either. Certainly, our a live audience can help us with something. Maybe.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. Something to do with the last of the 400 series. I don't know.
Bye-bye 400s.
Bye-bye 400s. But I don't know. That's going to be difficult for artwork. What else? Anything else? Anybody?
I've been looking at our stuff. I can't see anything else.
You're looking at our stuff. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We were talking about junk. Wait, what? No.
Yeah.
Jeff needs a new mouse.
Jeff's junk.
Jeff needs a new mouse. Jeff's junk. Nah.
No, I like Jeff's junk. I don't actually mean I like Jeff's junk.
Oh, yeah?
I like the title, Jeff's junk.
Check out Jeff's junk.
Is he going to ask you to pose for some pictures? I'm scared
I
to
hope
think
not.
about this.
I just have to
Yes.
go on to TikTok. Probably I'll better find some. Instagram.
And or just look up Ron Jeremy's
What?
Yeah.
webpage.
Yeah.
When Cessnas attack.
I like when
That's kinda
Cessnas
good.
attack. I do like when
Yeah. Smelly birds and smoke. Smelly
What was
smoking birds.
Cessna's attack to do with
The auto rotation.
it almost
The
like
helicopter.
Yeah, gotcha.
So this is while
the
you're all
AP
thinking about that, I'm just going to share a quick story that has nothing to do with anything.
Okay.
Here, but while Nick's Plain Tales were playing, I wandered downstairs for another beverage, and there was a package outside my door, and I brought it upstairs and I opened it, and there was this stemless wine glass inside, and it's actually got little marks to fill up the glass, but they're all different running distances, like 5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea who sent it or where it came from because there was no note with it. I did not order it for myself, at least that I remember, because sometimes, late night Amazon purchases, surprise. But no, I did not order that for myself. Yeah, it happens to the best of us. But it turns out it came from my best friend, one of my oldest friends. Been friends with her since second grade. And she just wanted to send something nice for having run all those marathons.
Nice.
She just sent me a message and said, I got a notification that something I sent you arrived, but I couldn't send it. I couldn't select a gift message or leave a message with it. There was no place to do that. So I sent a letter separately in the mail, but I know that hasn't arrived yet. So it's all out of order and I'm sorry, but it's okay. So that was just very sweet of her. Anyway, because I was sitting here, I was like, I wonder where this came. Nick's Plain Tale. I'm listening to that. And I'm also looking at this mug going, wonder where this came from.
Was it Karen?
No, not Karen.
Okay.
One of my friends from Chicago. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
iHall has a suggestion here.
Yeah, I like that.
$4.99.
Marked down from 500.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Black Friday discount.
Black Friday sale.
I was just gonna. That's just what I was gonna say.
I like it. I like where this is going.
Black Friday special.
Yeah.
APG.
$4.99.
Yep.
Hey, and if all of you send in $4.99, that'd be good.
Yeah. It's like main man Micah's suggestion, 500 minus one. It's the discount. $500? Nope. $1 off today only. $4.99.
Sit on it and auto rotate.
Do you think you got something to work with there, Nick?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna put $4.99 a price tag.
Perfect.
Okay. Cool.
Price is Right style.
And get on with the big thing I have, which is doing this. Do you have a problem with Keynote, Jeff? Because I find it difficult to work with. It's not the easiest bit of software.
I haven't used it for a while, but I used to use it all the time.
Extensively.
I used to use it all the time for presentations when I was in residency, and it was really nice because of how it interfaced with my iPhone, and I could use that as like the...
Yeah, I think that's the good thing about it. I'm trying to mix video and stills in the same slide, and it keeps cutting the video off. Rather than letting the video run to the finish, you've got to have a still that finishes at the same time as, and a still animation effect that finishes at the same time the video does. Otherwise, the video gets clipped. It's very annoying. Anyway, I'm doing my best with it.
Let's chat after the broadcast.
All right.
Yes,
Let's
ma'am.
end this baby.
Oh, bye-bye, people. Thank you for your suggestions.
Yes, people. Thank you for...
See you next week.
Yeah.
See you.
Talons, Douglas.
To the UK. I think, Neil, you coming next week? See
Neil
you
is
at
coming, I
Barbara.
Yeah.
People will be at
we'll see many
Barbara.
of you
Al.
in person.
What time is all this starting again? Have we reminded folks?
It's 6 o'clock
1300
UK.
Eastern
1
Standard.
o'clock your time.
Everybody all at once. 1300.
Okay, somebody...
Go,
That's
Nick.
Go ahead.
we all know and you don't.
Go ahead, Nick. What time in Farnborough?
It's 6 o'clock in Farnborough.
And what time in Atlanta?
1 o'clock.
Thank you.
Both in the afternoon/evening. Don't show up in the middle of the night.
Correct.
You won't be there.
If you pitch up at 1
Oh, we
a.m.,
might.
you're very silly.
Yeah. All right. Let's shut this baby down.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. All right.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.